Now, I hope that there's something that we can take care of for the postseason. But as of right now, yeah, these are the final two games that we're going to be downtown at Naughty Barrel.
So get here. Happy hour will begin at 4. Great place to kick off your weekend. Unbelievable food and drinks. All the TVs you could imagine, even if you don't have tickets to the game tonight. Get down here for Padres and Giants. You can watch it from the Naughty Barrel at 9th and Market. You know, what happened last night in the series finale against Detroit is basically like the Padres getting what they've been doing to opponents done to them, right? Like a case of their own medicine or whatever the saying would be. Because this thing was, I thought it was done. They build a 3-0 lead. They sit on it. Their bullpen's really good. Robert Suarez has been very good by and large this year. He had been shaky recently, but had avoided the blow-up, and then a 3-2 pitch with 2 outs, the bases loaded, a grand slam. Are you kidding? In the top of the 9th inning, and then the Padres end up losing 4-3. And then in the process, you look at the wild card standings, Jim, and it's gotten tight. I mean, the Padres are only 3 games up right now on a playoff spot. We haven't seen a lot of that. We've seen the Padres do it to opponents, win in miraculous fashion. Last night it was Detroit, just completely out of thin air, stealing game 3 of that series. And now this thing remains tight in the National League wildcard race.
So I guess the first question is of the day, any concern with Robert Suarez? That was just his 4th blown save of the season last night. He's 31 for 35 in save opportunities. He has not pitched well for the last month here. He had a 4+ ERA in August. With yesterday obviously ballooning his ERA in September, he's pitched 4 of the last 5 days. Any concern with Robert Suarez here going into the stretch run and going into a postseason?
Well, 70470 started with the word team if you want to weigh in. My honest, unbiased answer is absolutely. I have real concerns about Robert Suarez in the postseason. Real concern, because the teams you're going to be facing already scare me. The idea of going through the Ohtanis and the Betts and the Freemans or the Harpers of the world, so that really does scare me regardless, even if you have an elite closer who Robert Suarez was earlier this year. Since his first appearance in August, he's got a 5.8. And you might say, well, that's ballooned from yesterday. Yeah, but yesterday counts. I mean, that's part of it. So he just hasn't been the same pitcher because he's allowing base runners. The part last night that for me was inexcusable is not the home run. It's the 2 walks in front of the home run that you just absolutely in no world can you have that. So, yeah, like I've got real concerns about Robert Suarez. I'm not saying replace him. I'm not saying Tanner Scott should be the closer in the postseason, but I'm telling you it could be shaky. In fact, I kind of expect it to be shaky, to be honest with you, the way he's pitched here recently in the postseason. That sucks to say it, but it's how I feel based on what I'm seeing.
So Eno Saris, we all know Eno Saris, works for The Athletic. He tweeted out last night something that we mentioned on the wrap-up show, and I didn't see this until this morning. But when you're talking about Robert Suarez, what do you think about Robert Suarez? He's got 1 pitch, essentially. It's a fastball. Now, he has been really good this year with that just 1 pitch. But last night, that 1 pitch did not work for him. He could not locate it, and he gave up the grand slam. Yes, he's throwing 101.
101, yeah.
But that thing is, straight as an arrow. Eno Saris tweeted out last night, I know it's 100, but I'm not sure Robert Suarez's fastball is good enough to throw all the time. He needs to mix in the change more or the cutter, and I like him. Don't get me twisted.
Well, this is like, what is this, tweets from April 19th when he threw 100 consecutive fastballs at one point?
But he was getting it done with the fastball, and now it seems like it's not an automatic every time he goes out there, he shuts the door with just that fastball. Like, he's going to, more often than not, get the job done, but then you're also going to see, I think, more of what you saw last night creep its ugly head if he doesn't learn how to throw a second pitch.
You have to throw a second pitch, right? He's not Mariano Rivera, and he's 33 years of age, and here's the problem also. If you're thinking, well, maybe in 2025 we'll develop more of a repertoire. He's 33. And he's having success right now doing what he's done. But you're right. Like, the league has caught up to his fastball. And what I would say, it's not about the velocity is great. It's about the location of the fastball. I think that's what has slipped. You go back to last night as a reference. He's walking batters in the inning. I think he was so precise earlier this year with location of the pitch. oftentimes we get so enamored with velocity, but truthfully, I'd rather have location than velocity. And then when you combine the two, location and velocity, he can be unhittable. For me, he's not locating his pitches. And when you walk two batters in an inning with a 3-run lead, how could I feel overly confident with a guy that's got a 6 ERA since August 1st and throws one pitch? How?
Because he got it done this year before all that?
Yeah, well, great.
I mean, he was dominant. He was one of the best closers in baseball. He still was a top 5 closer.
And I used to run a 7-minute mile, but now it takes me 9 minutes to run a mile. I mean, what he did in April is no longer relevant if he's struggling in August and September, right?
Well, here's the thing. You have time now to fix whatever issues you have. And, oh, by the way, last night was his 4th and 5th.
That's
fair. 4th in 5 days.
I agree with that.
And I just think that more than anything, he needs rest. Like, this is the most innings Robert Suarez has pitched in the big leagues in his entire career. We know what happened last year. Last year was a horrible year for him. He got the suspension. He was injured for most of the year, and he did not pitch well. 2022, he was fantastic, but I think he threw under 50 total innings that season because he did miss the first part of the year due to injury.
Right.
And this year, he's racking up the most innings he's ever pitched in his career. He's doing 4-out saves this season. Sometimes he's being put in there 5 outs. Not a lot, but a couple times.
He's pitching with 4-run leads.
He's pitching with 4-run leads. I am not as overly concerned about him as you are, I think. But if this still continues and he gets enough rest, like, I don't see him pitching the next 2 days, honestly. And frankly, I don't see Adam, Suarez, and Scott pitching the next 2 days either, because all 3 of those guys have pitched 4 of the last 5 games.
Listen, I'm glad he got it out of the way in early September as opposed to early October. Like, if that exact same event played out in the postseason, it completely ruined everything.
Then we're in trouble.
And again, it is September and it's not October, and things do happen. We saw what happened, obviously, in Philadelphia in Game 5 2 years ago to Robert Suarez. I'm not saying don't give him the ball in that exact same spot again. They're going to, and they should. But with all that being said, how confident are you going to be if this continues throughout September and he goes into the postseason, not being the pitcher he was the first couple of months? I mean, would they even consider going to Tanner Scott in 9th innings in the postseason over Robert Suarez if this is who Robert Suarez is over the final 2 or 3 weeks of the regular season? That would also be pretty interesting. Mike Schultz, very loyal.
Very loyal.
And he's got a team that's played great baseball. They still have the best record. I saw this from MLB today. The best record in baseball in the second half belongs to the Padres by either a half game or a game, even with yesterday. Is Mike Schultz really going to ruffle feathers with a team that's playing 700 baseball in the second half because Robert Suarez hasn't been as effective?
There's more of a chance of me winning the lottery tonight than that happening with Mike Schultz and his team.
I agree.
He is going to back his club 1,000%, no matter what. Robert Suarez could blow his next 2 saves, and guess what's going to happen? Schultz not going to go away from him. He is going to continue to go to that guy and have his back regardless.
Is it smart? As in, is it loyal or is it blind loyalty?
Well, that's the conversations we've had with Schultz at the beginning of the year when they were a 500 team and they were kind of hovering around like the part of their season where this thing could go both ways, and it's worked for the Padres with Mike Schultz, so to say, blind loyalty with
absolutely.
them. But I mean, it's not going to always work. It's not going to always work. I mean, he's admitted it multiple times how just he bleeds optimism no matter what. He is just an optimistic guy through and through. So the sky could be falling, and he's going to find a way to pull a positive out of it.
Right.
Robert Suarez could blow his next 3 saves. He's going to find a way to throw a positive in there. That's just how it's going to work. And so with that, I don't see any major changes happening at all. And nor do I think they should make any major changes.
They were due for last night. They have won so many of those games that they were due. Everything was going perfect. They were on the verge of their 7th sweep. They'd won 11 of their last 14 series. They still won that series. Everything was going perfectly. They were on their way to a tidy 2-hour win in front of 45,000 people, a sweep of the Tigers.
Easy.
And sometimes baseball has a way of humbling you. I don't think it changes the trajectory of the team. And we talked yesterday, like, what's their weakness? Like, I don't know. But now you look at what happened in the 9th inning, and you can't just be like, well, it happened, but I'm good. I'm still good with Suarez, but it's something that has to be discussed moving forward. Because honestly, if it happens again, Jim, If it happens again sooner rather than later, where he blows a save in one of his next 2 appearances, like I got real questions about who's going to close games in October for them.
Okay, yeah, I'll give you that. I mean, if his next 3 appearances he blows 2 saves, then yeah, that's an issue, and you got to talk about it. But
this is a one-off, hopefully.
But he just hasn't done that this year. Like, he's still a top 5 closer in baseball. He still throws 101, even though that pitch is the only pitch he throws. And more often than not, he's getting it done. You know, some of the greats blow saves. Mariano Rivera has blown saves in his career. Trevor Hoffman has blown saves in his career. Like,
no, that is inaccurate. What site are you using for your stats? That is wrong.
It happens.
How much of this do you put on the light show when he comes into the game?
I put
is this
0,
more on the light show than it is on Suarez?
On the light show. You think the light show is the problem here? Light show doesn't matter at all.
I don't think the light show is the problem. I don't need the light show.
It's fine with me, and I'm going tonight. I hope I see the light show.
You want to see the? Well, you're not going to.
I know I won't, but I hope they do a light show for.
Here's the light show for Yuki Matsui.
Morihone. Give me a light show for Adrian Morihone.
Let me just say this about where they are. They're 3 games up in a playoff spot. They're taking on a Giants team tonight, and we'll get into this on the other side. Their starting pitcher in about 20 innings has been awful this year. You're a minus 200 favorite. We're not at must-win yet, because it's not truly a must-win. But when it comes to an important game, when you consider Houston, LA, and Arizona awaiting, this is one of those games. I'm not even talking about the series. This is one of those games at home. Get the sour taste out of your mouth and beat the Giants here tonight at Petco Park. All right, we have a very good show for you here today. The commissioner of the Mountain West Conference will be in town this weekend for San Diego State and Oregon State. Gloria Navarez. She'll join us on the phone coming up at 4 p.m. Of course, our Padres insider Kevin Acee is on the show today at 5 p.m. as well. We have giveaways for you today that we will give away. Let's see. Do we have Aztec tickets, Brent, you think, or not?
They're in the thing.
All right, they're in the system.
They're in the
thing.
Know
what?
They're the
We're
going
to give away San Diego State football tickets for tomorrow coming up next. So do not go anywhere. Big one at Snapdragon. More on the importance of tonight for the Padres. We're at the Naughty Barrel downtown. Come join us. It's Jon and Jim.
We're counting down to a massive San Diego sports weekend with the faithful. Live from Naughty Barrel, 844 Market Street. It's Padres Giants at Petco and Aztec Fast Part 2 as the Scarlet and Black host Oregon State. Plus, it's NFL Week 1. Now, back to Jon and Jim.
All right, Gloria Navarez is the Mountain West Commissioner. She'll join us coming up at 4 p.m. out of this showdown at Snapdragon, San Diego State, Oregon State. We're at the Naughty Barrel downtown for Padres-Giants game 1 at 6:40 on the steamy Friday night. In fact, Sunday afternoon at Petco Park, they're giving away free water and sunscreen for those in attendance at 110 because of the temperature. And Kevin Acee will join us at 5 p.m. We have Aztec tickets, Jim. We'll give away in about 5 minutes, so don't go anywhere. So you heard from us for like 15 minutes on like our thoughts on Robert Suarez. I think you're more forgiving than I am.
I am.
I'm not saying like never use this guy again. I'm just saying like I think it's a problem potentially.
I just think that he's been used 7 of the last 12 days and he needs a little rest. He's probably been used 4 of the last 5 days. He needs a little rest. And for the counter argument, well, look at Tanner Scott. He's been used pretty much the exact same as Robert Suarez. Tanner Scott has been built up to do this.
Yep.
The last 3 seasons for Tanner Scott, he has pitched, I don't have it in front of me, I think 60-plus innings 2 years ago, 70-plus innings last year, and 60-plus innings already this year. Robert Suarez doesn't have that in his resume where he's been built up and he has thrown this many innings before because he's never done this before. So hopefully rest will help him. And that's what I'm banking on right now is if they can take care of business this weekend versus the Giants, he's not going to be used the next 2 days no matter what, I feel like. If you can have a nice little blowout on Sunday, you have an off day Monday, you give Robert Suarez 4 days off there, I think that will help him so much.
You're probably right. Let's hear from Mike Schild on Robert Suarez. I'm sure he's very critical of his closer. If I was guessing what you're going to hear here is a lot of criticism of his elite caliber closer in Robert Suarez. What does Mike Schild have to say after last night? Let's take a listen.
Mike, just one of those nights for Robert was challenged with the fastball command.
Yeah, I mean, he's been fantastic for us. I mean, let's give him his due. He's been tremendous, and I wouldn't say spoiled us, but nothing's automatic in this game. And get ambushed with the first pitch and base hit, and they were patient. He was around the zone. Fastball was coming out good, 100, 101, but just a little spotty with the command. They were able to get a couple walks and put ourselves in harm's way and, 2 strikes and put a swing on him.
As far as Perez went tonight, it looked like the changeup was really effective for him.
Yeah, I turned to Ruben about the 4th. It's not a pitch that I don't think he's had as recently, but as a pitch we identified when we first got him, how effective that was. And it really is just a filthy pitch, and it was on display tonight. Did a great job getting us into the 7th.
For Suarez, was it I know you mentioned the command, but the stuff, his fastball had a lot of life on it. Did you feel like his stuff was as good as it was and just a nice piece of hitting by Parker there?
Yeah, I mean, he's throwing 100, 101 until, stuff was great. Just got on a barrel, supplied some of the power, and he did a nice swing on it.
You guys have done a fantastic job for bouncing back all year. What is it going to take to do so again after this one?
Oh, we just play every day. We just play the game the right way every day. So, I mean, that's what we do. So we'll be just fine.
Look, Schulte knows more about baseball than I'll ever know, but I'm going to push back just a tad bit, saying a guy's stuff is good just automatically because he throws 100.
I completely agree with that. Like, he didn't have good command.
He didn't have good command. There's not look, I can never hit that pitch, so I'm never trying to say that I could. But from my viewpoint, and people think this as well, it's like, well, he's throwing 101. Is there a lot of movement on that pitch lately? Like lately, it feels like that pitch is just as straight as an arrow. And if he's not having good command on it, then that's going to be a problem.
I'd have to do the deep dive on here's the thing. I think sometimes when you say fastball, typically it's more about command to me than movement.
For sure.
If you throw a pitch with high velocity and you hit your spot, that's unhittable by and large, right? But when you throw with high velocity and you're missing spots, you're falling behind. I mean, the pitch that was hit out, and we could watch this thing over again, is middle away at the belt, where if you do make contact with it, you could be in trouble. And that's exactly what happened. I just don't think he had spot on command yesterday. He walked, dude. If he allows the home run and there's no walks in the inning, they win the game.
I know.
So it's more to me about him not commanding his fastball prior to the grand slam than it is about the 3-2 pitch that was quote unquote left over the middle of the plate.
Yeah, no, I get it. And going forward, though, I do think he's going to have to incorporate some other type of pitch to keep the hitter on their toes, because all they're looking for is fastball. Why would you look anything else? Now, I'm not saying he needs to develop a dominant pitch like a Mariano cutter or a Hoffman changeup or whatever, but you need to have at least, I feel like, something to keep the hitter on their toes. Because last night, I mean, I have to look at his pitch log here, but I want to say he threw, 95% fastballs?
Well, when's he? I'm with you, and I agree with you. When's the development coming? They're going to spend September 7th in the lab and come up with a nasty changeup after throwing 90% of your pitches for fastball for 5 months?
Well, then I think that goes to they need to manage his workload effectively to make sure that he's not dead tired going into a postseason and through a postseason series. I think that if he has ample amount of rest, I think he's going to be effective for this team. I think that we're going to see the Robert Suarez closer to the first half of the season than what we've seen in August and here in September. I do think that plays a huge role, is the rest factor with Robert Suarez. And I think that's what they need to focus on going forward.
Caller 7, you're going to Snapdragon Stadium tomorrow night, a showdown between the Aztecs and the Oregon State Beavers. Gloria Nevarez is the commissioner of the Mountain West Conference. She'll join us at 4 p.m. Caller 7 to 877-767-4760. You have 2 free tickets to San Diego State, Oregon State, 7:30 tomorrow night right here on San Diego Sports 760, 877-767-4760. Let's preview tonight. Giants Padres game 1 downtown San Diego. We're at the Naughty Barrel until 6 p.m. Gloria Nevarez at 4. Kevin Acee at 5. This is Jon and Jim.
All right, this update's brought to you by Mattress Firm. Padres, they could not complete the sweep last night as Robert Suarez blew the save, gave up a grand slam in the 9th inning. Padres did win the series. They move on to take on the San Francisco Giants starting tonight for a 3-game set at Petco Park. 6:40 first pitch. Tomorrow, Aztecs take on Oregon State at Snapdragon Stadium. 5:30 pregame, 7:30 kickoff time. You can listen to that game right here on San Diego Sports 760. And not good news for the Aztecs. Their starting left tackle, Joe Bourgeon, he tore his ACL in the opener. He's going to be out for the remainder of the season. And this update's been brought to you by Mattress Firm.
It's Padres, Giants, Aztecs, Beavers, and the NFL opening weekend continues. Is that enough for you? This is huge. As we continue live from Naughty Barrel, it's Jon and Jim.
All right, Gloria Nevarez is the commissioner of the Mountain West Conference. She will join us coming up at 4 p.m. She'll be in San Diego for the Aztecs and the Oregon State Beavers, one of 2 remaining programs in the Pac-12. She will join us coming up at 4 p.m. Kevin Acee is our Padres insider, Jim. Did you know?
Wait, what?
Yeah, some news. Kevin Acee will join us now on Fridays.
I didn't know that. That's cool.
He'll join us coming up at 5 p.m. So let's get down to brass taxes here. Here are the wild card standings as the Padres get ready for the Giants. San Diego's a half game up on Arizona for the top wild card. Here's the problem. It's not a huge problem, but Atlanta's 3 games back.
It's a problem.
And the Mets are 3 games back. And you say, well, okay, right. The Padres are 3 games up on a playoff spot. Yeah, but that's 4 teams for 3 spots. And the margin is only 3 games, which is better than, 1 game or less than that. But
right.
Yeah, and you don't own the tiebreaker against the Mets either. So 3 games up with 20 to play, 6 of the next 8 against the, I don't want to say lowly San Francisco Giants, but I would say the middling San Francisco Giants. And tonight, again, is one of those games where you're at home, you're taking on a guy that's not pitched well, trying to bounce back from last night. I mean, with 3 games of margin here, this is a series that the Padres essentially got to find a way to win.
Every series, every game is so important.
Yeah.
One team's going to have a really good record out of the 4 you just mentioned and not make the postseason. That's kind of the reality of the National League wild card right now. And I'm glad the Padres are in the position that they are because they do have a little wiggle room, but they just can't slip up. They have to almost continue or be close to the pace that they have been on for the rest of the season if all of these other teams are going to win at the pace that they're winning at too. That's where you're like, man, can the Padres keep this up? Well, they're going to have to. They have
There's
to.
no other choice.
Because everybody behind them is playing amazing baseball as well.
I saw an interesting tweet today, and I think his content is terrific. Too Much Morton's, right?
Yeah.
Who, he's tweeting constantly about the Padres, and a lot of it is super interesting. But, I referenced this last night on the wrap-up show. They've got a 95% chance per Fangraphs of making the postseason, which is great, right? A 19-20 chance. And he laid out the math. He's like, the Padres go 10-10. You would need both Atlanta and New York to go something like 14-8 to pass the Padres. And then I thought about it. I'm like, yeah, that's not impossible.
Well, the way that they're playing,
8 is not 17-2. Like that's not happening. I agree. I would say if a team had to go 17-2 to knock the Padres out, I would say they are in the postseason. But that's not where we are, and that's why I am scoreboard watching. And unfortunately, for whatever reason in the National League, as good as the Padres have been, Jim, so have the Diamondbacks, and so have the Mets here in the second half. And that's why, I feel good about the Padres, but I don't feel perfect about where they stand because of the teams around them.
And I should know this. Do you know if the Diamondbacks hold the tiebreaker over the Padres or vice versa?
That's right. I don't know.
I don't know either. I know that the Mets hold the tiebreaker over the Padres. Padres hold the tiebreaker over the Braves. And I don't know
3 more games.
I don't know Arizona.
I can find in about 9 seconds if you want me to find it.
My guess is that 3-game series at the end of the year will determine.
Is that your guess?
That's my guess.
Okay, so here we go. The Padres this year against Arizona are 5-5.
That's okay. So the last
you win the series, you got the tiebreaker. You lose the series, you don't.
This thing's coming down to the final weekend of the year, right? To determine home field and who gets the 4 seed. That's what it feels like.
I mean, I agree with that, but there's also that scenario where someone like Arizona's on the wrong side of the postseason because of Atlanta and New York, and the same could be said even for San Diego. Like, because of Arizona, LA, and Houston awaiting, these are the series you cannot squander.
Right. And the Giants, I mean, they have been a team that just have no identity.
None.
Luckily, you missed Blake Snell this series. You do face Logan Webb tomorrow afternoon. But I think they're facing some rando on Sunday. You face a guy tonight who has like almost an 8 ERA and a 1.65 whip.
Yep.
You got to take care of business. I do think winning series will eventually get it done. I don't know if just winning series, taking 2 or 3, will get you the 4 seed, especially if Arizona is playing at such a high level. And then you get to the last series of the season and you're kind of sitting there going, well, if we take 2 or 3, then we are the 4 seed. But if Arizona takes 2 or 3, they're the 4 seed. Like, it's too close right now to call anything.
I agree. I mean, Arizona right now is in Houston for 3. They still have Milwaukee for 6. They haven't even played Milwaukee. They have Milwaukee for 6, and they have San Diego still. I mean, it's not exactly a walk in the park for Arizona, but that is a good point. Like, even winning at a good clip doesn't guarantee you that seed, as we've seen play out here in the second half, where the Padres have the best record in baseball, yet have only opened up a half-game lead on the wild card standings. I mean, was last night a squandered opportunity? Well, yeah, of course it was, but at least they still won the series against Detroit, and at least they're still among the hottest teams in baseball. So I can't be like, oh my gosh, they gave everything back, because they didn't. They lost a game they should have won, but they've done the opposite to teams all year long, and they still win the series. Now they just got to take 2 out of 3 from San Francisco. Simple as that.
Simple as that. Take 2 or 3, continue to win series, and, try to keep the blown saves to a very minimum. When you have opportunities to shut the door, you shut the door. You don't want what happened last night to reoccur again. And I still feel confident with this team, and that if they go into a series or if they go into a game and they're trailing at any point in the game, I still feel confident that they can figure out a way to win that series. But don't let last night leak over into this series, and don't let this series become a series that on Monday we're sitting here saying, what the hell happened?
Yeah, completely agree. I mean, the Padres lineup for tonight, 6:40 start, is out. There's no real surprises in here. You've got the full enchilada with Fernando Tatis Jr. back in there. And, you got guys that have played well in the second half. Manny Machado is one of them. And
that is the lineup, like the postseason lineup, and you add
other than
Ha-Seong Kim there for the Mason McCoy spot at the bottom.
That's the one thing they're still waiting on. You're right. They're still waiting on Ha-Seong Kim to get healthy, and we'll wait on that. And we'll wait on the postseason roster. Does, Nick Ahmed make his way onto it? Does Elias Diaz make his way onto it? But by and large, this is it.
Yeah.
You're looking at it. You'd love to get Yu Darvish fully healthy and the full workload and back pitching effectively. Michael King's been a big part of this thing this year. They could use another good one from him here tonight. And again, you're right. I think if you lose tonight as a heavy favorite against this random pitcher with his 7 ERA and his 1.7 whip, that's when it becomes like, oh man, this thing's going to be tight till the final 3 days of the season. If you win tonight, you know what? They overcome everything. They blow a 3-0 lead last night. They put it behind them in one day.
And past teams, last night's loss would have felt like, oh no, here we go again. I don't feel that way. I just don't. I don't know about you. I'm sure.
I agree with you.
I'm sure there are other doomers out there that think that way, and I don't, because of how well they played and the mindset that they have installed, where it doesn't bother them, and they're just going to continue to go forward and play hopefully good baseball and not let this affect them. Earlier in the year, it affected them. I remember that series in Kansas City where they blew that Sunday lead, and it affected them for the entire rest of that week.
I remember that.
I think they have overcome those issues or the mindset issues if you blow a lead or lose a game. And I feel like they're in a much better spot now than they were back then. And that a loss like last night, which, I mean, let's face it, it was devastating from a standpoint of you had a 3-run lead and you gave up a grand slam to lose the game. But I still think that they can wipe the slate clean, not worry about it, go into this series and play some good baseball. Hopefully.
I would say this about the Giants, who, again, have been in no man's land all year long. I mean, never well-positioned, never the worst team in baseball. In the second half, the San Francisco Giants are 22-22, which is kind of who they are.
Yeah.
But they have not been a bad team. They haven't been a good team. but they've been annoying enough with Webb and Snell specifically to give teams enough trouble. And we haven't seen, the Padres have not played the Giants since April 7th.
It's been a while.
So that is what, 5 months? It's September 6th. They haven't played them in 5 months, and they play for 6 of the next 8 games.
Giants on the road this year are 29-40.
So you're saying not good, but then you're still going up there, though, for 3-2. So it all adds up.
I know it does, but you take 2 or 3 from here, or hell, figure out a way to sweep
3 of 3.
Take 3 or 3, John.
Yeah.
You'll worry about
up there later.
This series is very important. Every game is very important. We are obviously scoreboard watching for the rest of the season.
Yeah, what's tonight?
So tonight, the Dodgers start a series with the Cleveland Guardians.
In L.A., right?
In L.A. You have the Astros hosting the D-backs.
Go Stros.
And then you have the the Braves hosting the Blue Jays. And the Mets are hosting the Reds for a 3-game series. So go Reds.
Right.
Go
like
Blue Jays.
Meme. Yeah.
Go Astros and go Guardians.
It's like that dude on his couch, and he's got all those hats on as he's watching the Padres hopefully win and those teams lose.
Yeah,
What is that?
Pimp Lord. Never mind. He's on X.
You know what I'm talking about?
I know exactly what you're talking about. I think that's what you're talking about.
I don't know if I'm talking about that.
Lean forward guy. He's wearing the hat. It's the different teams.
Oh yeah. I didn't know that's what it was.
Never mind.
All right, great. Anyway, Gloria Navarez will join us. The Mountain West Commissioner coming up at 4 p.m. Kevin Acee, our Padres insider, will join us at 5 p.m. We do have tickets to give away to see the Marley Brothers. We'll do that in the 4 o'clock hour. We have tickets to give away to see Train as well that we'll give away between now and 6 p.m. On the other side, Alex Morgan yesterday announcing her retirement, today meeting with the media. We'll hear from Alex Morgan on the other side on her legacy and the future of women's soccer. Kevin Acee at 5, Mountain West Commissioner Gloria Navarez at 4. Stay with us right now on Jon and Jim.
We're counting down to a massive San Diego sports weekend with the faithful. Live from Naughty Barrel, 844 Market Street. It's Padres Giants at Petco and Aztec Fast Part 2 as the Scarlet and Black host Oregon State. Plus, it's NFL Week 1. Now, back to Jon and Jim.
All right, we're at the Naughty Barrel here downtown, 9th and Market. Padres Giants coming up at 6:40. Happy hour begins at 4. Make your way down here, whether you have tickets or not, for tonight's game. Great place to watch the game. College football, NFL is on tonight. We'll get into that coming up over the course of the show as well. That game from Sao Paulo, Brazil, between the Packers and the Eagles. Gloria Navarez is the Mountain West Commissioner. She'll join us coming up at 4 p.m. Kevin Acee is our Padres insider. He will join us at 5 p.m. Now, earlier today, I think our very own Marty Caswell was there for Alex Morgan's official retirement. She announced this on social media yesterday, Jim. Yep. I guess that was officially official, and then today was like officially official
well,
in meeting with the media.
Yeah, yes, she met with the media today to talk about her retirement and, you know, a lot of topics like the direction of the game, the impact of her on the game, San Diego Wave, their future. I mean, truthfully, John, it's she to me is when I think of women's soccer, that's the first person I think of.
No, I agree with that.
I mean, there's other obviously women that are amazing, but for me personally, Alex Morgan, I'm like, okay, women's soccer, Alex Morgan. So I don't know. Truthfully, I don't even know if you realize how big of a global star she really is.
I think we've realized it.
I know, but I
mean, we talked about a lot. I mean, the way they were drawing. I mean, they were leading the NWSL in attendance for the 3 years that she's been on the team and they've been in the league. I mean, they're drawing huge crowds. 25,000 people for women's soccer, club soccer in San Diego is incredible. It's unbelievable. They've had crowds of 30,000, 35,000.
Who do you think has the most Instagram followers on the Padres?
I would say maybe Tatis.
Yu Darvish has 1.1 million. Obviously, his global stature.
Yeah.
Alex Morgan has about 10 million followers on Instagram.
Sure.
So, like, for me, she is a global star, and I think hearing her talk today about the impact of her on the game and where the San Diego Wave are going and soccer here in San Diego, it's going to be a big shoe to fill with the Wave because she kind of put them on the map. But here's Alex today talking about, you know, just her legacy and the future of women's soccer here in San Diego and globally as well.
Some of these younger players who have been able to just focus on themselves, focus on their teams, get better every day, have a pathway to be able to do that, have the resources to do that. Like, that's what I've fought for. And I haven't always, and I've known that I wouldn't always benefit from all the things that I fought for, but in, you know, fighting for equal pay and attaining that finally was such a pivotal moment in the history of women's soccer. It created this sort of butterfly effect throughout women's soccer globally that is irreversible, and that I only see continuing to grow. So, you know, it, as much as I wanted to be there this year, and, you know, I felt like we're in good hands. Like, the future of women's soccer, the present, and the future of women's soccer is in such an amazing place where I have done everything that I've needed to do. I have accomplished everything that I have come to do and achieved what I've needed to do. And to see those players step on the field and do work and be able to do it at such young age with such poise, and such confidence, like, that's what this is all about. That's why, like, I'm so happy being here saying, yes, I'm retiring, because we are more than fine. We are great.
Tatis has 1.7 million
on Instagram.
Yeah.
Does he?
Yeah.
Okay. So 1.7. Sorry, my bad.
But again, also, I don't know if that alone Like I wouldn't use Instagram as the only indicator
No.
for popularity.
Oh no, for
because
sure.
I think there's people on Instagram. There's probably some people. The Hawk Tua girl has probably 1.7 million followers.
It was
too.
just my first thing that I thought of when I would rate like popularity as far
my
as
point is like, okay, without like she says, hey, the sport's in great hands as I walk away from it. I think she's spot on, probably compared to when she came into it.
for
But
sure.
can it be backfilled without her
I think it can.
locally?
Locally, that's
right. That's going to be that's a pretty significant hurdle, probably.
Yeah, she also talked about how what the Wave are doing attendance-wise at Snapdragon Stadium is far and away the biggest
Yes.
attendance record in all of the NWSL.
Right.
I think a lot of it has to do with Alex Morgan, rightfully so. I also think the stadium they play in is a perfect soccer stadium. I think the way that they market the Wave is great, but how are the Wave going to go forward without Alex Morgan and make sure they continue to keep that same attendance number and even build on it for the future? And also, truthfully, on the field, be a really good soccer team and get back to where they were just a year ago, where they were one of the best soccer teams in the NWSL.
It's a little bit like men's sports. I mean, if the Padres all of a sudden were 20 games under 500 and didn't have Manny Machado and Fernando Tatis Jr., their crowds of 40,000 would go down to 14,000.
Correct.
Now, the difference is this, that, and the Padres in 2023 drew despite being not a good team, but the Wave draw without being a quote-unquote good team right now, and I think Alex Morgan is a big part of that. Will they continue to draw in the absence of Morgan? I think the answer is probably yes. It's just we have to watch how it plays out in real time.
Yeah, and I think the soccer scene here in San Diego is only going to get bigger with MLS coming next year. You'll have two professional soccer teams in town with the Wave and SDFC. I think those two teams are going to build off each other, and I think that 5 years down the line, if both of those teams are successful and they win championships or whatnot, you could see the attendance records for those games maintaining and being even bigger than what they are now. And I'm curious to see what's going to look like when SDFC kicks off next year throughout that season, because they don't have an Alex Morgan to lead them. They don't have that. I mean, Chuka Lozano is the big name, but
they don't have Lionel Messi.
No, they don't have that name for the casual. Like for me and you, for the diehard soccer fans, like of course they're going to go regardless. And Chucky Lozano is a big name to them. Me and you were kind of like, okay, I kind of have to see it first.
Yeah, I mean, it's an amazing soccer market. We all know that. So that alone, I think, puts them in a spot where they've got a leg up on a lot of markets in the country. But replacing Alex Morgan, wow. I mean, that's a lot. And they've had a lot of change this year, from head coach manager to Alex Morgan.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of change, and we'll see if they can win. We'll see if they can win.
And her legacy
next year as well.
Her legacy's unmatched. She will go down as one of, if not the greatest women's soccer player in the history of the sport.
Yeah, I think in this era, like, she's right there at the top of, her legacy is incredible. She's one of the greatest women's soccer players ever. All right, Gloria Nevarez will join us on the other side. She is the commissioner of the Mountain West Conference. We'll talk about tomorrow night at Snapdragon Stadium between San Diego State and Oregon State. Plus Kevin Acee, our Padres insider, will join us coming up at 5 p.m. Happy hour begins on the other side, coming up at 4 p.m. Stay with us from the Naughty Barrel. This is Jon and Jim.
All right, this update is brought to you by DraftKings Fantasy. Padres start a 3-game series tonight against the San Francisco Giants. 6:40 first pitch. Michael King on the mound for the Padres. Tomorrow, Aztecs, they take on Oregon State at Snapdragon Stadium. 5:30 pregame, 7:30 kickoff. You can listen to that game right here on San Diego Sports 760. Some bad news for the Aztecs. Their starting left tackle, Joe Borjan, he tore his ACL in the opener of the season last weekend. He's going to be out for the remainder of the year. Check out what DraftKings has to offer this season with code SPORTS, because life's more fun when you're in on the action. DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Age and eligibility restrictions do apply. Void where prohibited. See DraftKings.com for details today.
We're counting down to a massive San Diego sports weekend with the faithful. Live from Naughty Barrel, 844 Market Street. It's Padres Giants at Petco as the run to the playoffs continues. And it's Aztec Fast Part 2 as the Scarlet and Black host Oregon State. Plus, it's NFL Week 1. Time to get this party started with Jon and Jim.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? This is hour 2 of Jon and Jim from the Naughty Barrel, downtown San Diego. Padres getting set for the Giants game 1 of a 3-game series coming up at 6:40. Of course, you can hear the Aztecs tomorrow night against Oregon State at Snapdragon Stadium at 7:30 with pregame coverage beginning at 5:30 right here on San Diego Sports 760. And it's always our pleasure to welcome in the commissioner of the Mountain West Conference back with us here in San Diego, Gloria Nevarez, the commissioner of the Mountain West, back with us on Jon and Jim. So, Commissioner, first of all, thank you so much for taking the time. And secondly, now that we're in this expanded college football playoff era, how do you feel about the strength of the league in football and what you've seen to this point? And thanks for hopping on.
Well, thanks for having me. And, it's still early days. We're only through week 1. But we're very optimistic about what we're seeing, even just the depth of the league this year.
How's been the relationship with Turner and True TV broadcasting games so far? The broadcast looks great. How's that relationship going for the first couple of weeks here?
We couldn't be more excited. The broadcast and production quality has been top notch. One of our ADs said it was fire, which I assume is really good. And,
yes.
Opening up the Max app and seeing our brands and our teams on the schedule is really pretty cool.
So you're going to be in San Diego. I think actually you're in San Diego right now. Oregon State and San Diego State coming up on Saturday at 7:30. We received word that the schedule alliance between the Mountain West and the Pac-12 is not currently scheduled to continue beyond 2024. So what went into that decision as you have the alliance in 2024, but it doesn't continue in 2025? For our listeners, why not?
We just, didn't come to an agreement. And the whole thing was a 1-year deal with an option to negotiate for a second. And so what we're doing is just picking up kind of where we left off in the schedule rotation we had before we made room for those 2 schools. So kind of business as usual for us.
Will the Mountain West still be able to schedule Oregon State and Washington State in sports moving forward without the alliance or no?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
The difference would be if they had done the deal with us, we would have balanced out the calendar and played them home and away against all our teams throughout the season. Schools are now free to schedule with them, but it would have to be in the non-conference season like any other non-conference team.
Gloria Nevarez is the commissioner of the Mountain West Conference. She's with us right now. San Diego Sports 760, home of the Aztecs. From the outside, it appears as if there's always a lot of attention on the future of Oregon State and Washington State. What does it mean for programs around the Power 5, maybe even in leagues like the Mountain West? Like, is it at all an elephant in the room, like the future for Oregon State and Washington State and what that may mean for the Mountain West in some form or fashion, or not for you?
Not as much in that, we are going to market for television. We're the last of the FBS leagues that are going to market. So all the other media agreements are pretty much locked up. The CFP, we've all signed on board for that for the next 10 years with ESPN. So I'm optimistic we're hitting a period maybe here of stability, at least for the term of those agreements.
With the success of San Diego State in both basketball and football, can you just talk about what they mean to the overall, strength of the Mountain West Conference here?
The basketball runs that we've had the last couple of years have been truly special, but also I think San Diego State's a recognizable national brand. They're investing at a very high level, and you can see the results. on the field, but also the population base of the San Diego, Southern California area market. Very, very important too. So they bring a lot of value for sure.
Gloria Navarez is with us, the Mountain West Commissioner, head of San Diego State and Oregon State this weekend at Snapdragon Stadium. We know the expanded playoff, Gloria. Obviously, the inclusion of a Group of 5 program was fought for years and years and years by the Mountain West Conference and Craig Thompson. But it's only assured, and correct me if I'm wrong, for both 2024 and 2025. Is in what's going to happen, in your opinion, in 2026? It's going to include the Group of 5, right? Or will it not potentially?
It's basically there are 9 FBS leagues, and the top 5 ranked conference champions of those 9 leagues get an AQ. So it's not, doesn't matter if you are Power 5, Group of 5, A4, independent, whatever. The top 5 conference champions will get in the field, and then there'll be 7 at large.
But what about beyond? And that's how it is in 2024, and that's committed to in 2025. But isn't there a new TV contract or a new process that could play out for 2026? And how could 2026 potentially impact the playoff and Group of 5 inclusion?
There's a look-in, so we can analyze what's going on. There's been talk of expanding that field. There's also been talk about thinking about it differently. But there is an agreement with ESPN to have, at the minimum, a 12-team playoff in the format that we have right now. So at the point we have the look-in, kind of take the learnings that we've had, and can we improve on the format? Will be the question.
I saw, I forget the article, maybe it was Ross Dellinger at Yahoo, but I saw a quote from you a couple of weeks ago about this idea of a secondary tournament, potentially outside of the expanded college football playoff, that would include some of the top teams in the Group of 5. When you were speaking about that possibility, I think the direct quote might have been something like an NIT for college football. Were you talking about in addition to the program that receives access to the college football playoff, in addition to that, there could be some type of tournament that plays out among the Group of 5?
That was during a time when there was talk about a Group of 5 Super League and maybe some other different bowl machinations. And really what it boils down to is we're committed to the CFP and the expanded playoff. If there's a different way to think about postseason and the bowl structure, we're definitely open to talking about it. I don't know that we have a single concept that has risen above the rest, but I think the walk away for us is we're committed to the CFP, and if there's a different way to think about the bowl structure, we're open to it.
And you're going to be at Snapdragon Stadium tomorrow night, correct?
Yes.
So for you, what do you love most about going to Snapdragon Stadium? It's only a couple of years old here, but it's it's kind of like a little jewel of a college football stadium here in the Mountain West Conference.
It's amazing. One, the stadium is beautiful. I think the fan experience, the ability to walk around, the great weather, it is by far one of the best in the league, and always is a fun game to go to.
Is there an update? I know this is playing out in real time, that settlement, that House settlement, how it's going to impact the future of college athletics. Is that just a process that remains in limbo, and once there is some type of settlement, you'll move from there? Or how are athletic departments and leagues dealing with it, knowing that it's just kind of looming and hanging in the balance right now, that settlement?
Looming and hanging are great adjectives. I think there was a preliminary hearing yesterday evening during which I think all hoped that we'd get the green light on the preliminary settlement, and that did not happen. Although I think the walkaways that the judge gave both sides were pretty manageable. So while there's more work to be done, and to your point, it's going to take a little bit more time, I don't think the thing has been derailed. Although, again, I'm not in the room. We're not named plaintiffs. That's just what I've gleaned from media reports and talking to people.
So always interesting times, as we know. Every time we have the commissioner of the league with us, it seems like it's always a fascinating time in the history of collegiate athletics. We are looking forward to tomorrow night, San Diego State and Oregon State. One more before you go, Commissioner. You mentioned the fact that your TV window is going to open up, or renegotiation is going to go on with television partners. We've had you before on this, but when does that process begin to play out? Is that in 2025 or before or after that?
Yeah, the agreement expires in 26, so we'll start to go to market probably the end of the academic year here in mid-25.
All right, so that'll play out over the course of the next handful of months. And college football season underway. We'll see if the Mountain West can secure that Group of 5 spot in the expanded playoff here in year number 1 of the expanded playoff. Gloria Navarez, we appreciate you taking time for us. We know you'll be on our pregame show tomorrow as well for San Diego State and Oregon State. Enjoy your time in San Diego, and thanks for hopping on today.
Great. Thanks for having me, and see you tomorrow.
All right, look forward to it. Again, the commissioner of the Mountain West Conference, Gloria Navarez. It really is an interesting time. John Wilner, Bay Area News Group, who broke the USC-UCLA news a couple of years ago, leaving for the Big Ten. He wrote something, Jim, today, just theorizing on Oregon State and Washington State and what it means for San Diego State and Boise State. And this was his opinion, theorizing that there is a likelihood that Oregon State, Washington State, San Diego State, Boise State, in some form or fashion, will be in a league together, whether that's the Mountain West, including Oregon State and Washington State, whether it's a new league, the Pac-12, where Boise and San Diego State join forces with Oregon State, Washington State, or something in between. But my point is this. It's not settled because Oregon State and Washington State need homes. You can't be in a two-team league for forever. And right now they're kind of in limbo right now in a two-team league.
Nothing is ever settled in college football. Like realignment talk will go on, I feel like, forever. It just, again, it's another no-brainer. Like, of course you want two of the top schools in the Mountain West Conference, San Diego State and Boise State, to team up with the two last schools from the Pac-12, Oregon State and Washington State, to create a league, and they can bring along other teams from the Mountain West Conference as well. And, the other, schools out there that might want to join in and whatever or whatnot. But I mean, it just makes too much sense. Of course, it's a lot of politicking that has to go into it. And I don't envision anything happening anytime soon, but it's great that Oregon State and Washington State and Cal, by the way, are on the schedule this year for San Diego State football, which is great.
Yeah, with two of them at home.
Think
about that. You would normally think Group of 5, you'd play 2 of your 3 quote-unquote power games on the road, but San Diego State, for the first time in a while, has 2 of those at home in Oregon State and Washington State. Tickets are available, by the way, at goaztecs.com. I'm curious to see how many Oregon State fans make the trip from Corvallis to Southern California for this one as well. Their next game is Oregon.
Yeah.
And it's in Corvallis on their home field. So that is a massive game for Oregon State.
I just don't understand how I know we talked yesterday to someone from the Oregonian.
Nick Dashiell.
Nick Dashiell, that's right. And he's like, yeah, no, they're not overlooking this game. Are you sure about that? I mean,
bro, you were basically saying, like, is there a trap in here? Yeah.
I mean, a little bit of a trap feeling to me, especially when you're hosting Oregon. If you're going to Oregon, that's one thing, but they are setting up for that game at Oregon State to be probably the biggest game of their year. Easy sellout. Crowd's going to be crazy.
Yep.
The hype there for that game will be through the roof. I mean, maybe San Diego State's catching Oregon State at the right time. And hopefully, maybe it's because of the newness at quarterback for Oregon State as well. And also the line kind of reflects that, saying that they only view Oregon State as
one possession
favorite.
Yeah, it's been bumped up, I think, to something like 6 points over the last couple of days. But still, that's relatively close. And looking at I think I was looking at the seating chart earlier this week, and there's going to be a good crowd for this game. This will be a really well-attended game. Tickets are available at goaztecs.com, but this will be a well-attended game. I think this will be a very good college football atmosphere, and this will be, again, tomorrow night at 7:30. Pregame coverage, Ben Fletcher, J.R. Tolver, beginning at 5:30. Myself and Rich Ornberger on the call coming up at 7:30 from inside Snapdragon Stadium. Hope to see you there. San Diego State and Oregon State for the second time in 2 seasons. All right, on the other side, we will get to the wrap. Kevin Acee is our Padres insider. He will join us coming up at 5 p.m. We're at the Naughty Barrel downtown, 9th and Market. Happy hour underway. Great food and drinks. Come join us. We're here until 6. Stay with us. It's Jon and Jim.
Padres, Giants, Aztecs, Beavers, and the NFL opening weekend continues. Is that enough for you? This is huge. As we continue live from Naughty Barrel, it's Jon and Jim.
All right, here until 6 p.m. Kevin Acee will swing by, and by swing by, join us on the phone. At 5 p.m., our Padres Insider. We will give away tickets this hour to see the Marley Brothers coming up on September 11th at the North Island Credit Union Amphitheater. So just a few days away, we'll give away tickets to see the Marley Brothers coming up later this hour. So have we mentioned the National Football League? They are playing this year. They will play football this year. They actually got underway.
Is that still a thing?
They're still going to do it this year.
Yeah.
We found out last night. So why don't we get to the wrap?
It's time for The Wrap, presented by Sombrero Mexican Food. Check out their website at sombreromex.com.
Did the Chiefs do anything last night to change your opinion on them being the favorites this year?
No. If anything, it just shows that their offense is going to be better this year because last season, John, they had a total of 2 explosive play touchdowns. Last night,
the season?
For the season.
And they won the Super Bowl?
Yeah, over 20 yards or more.
Kansas City?
Yes, the
The
Chiefs.
team with Patrick Mahomes.
Correct.
Wow.
Last night, they had 2 touchdowns of 20-plus yards or more in one game.
Right. Against a really good team.
And it's all thanks to Xavier Worthy, who somehow is a Kansas City Chief. I mean, just fits freaking perfectly with them. They get every break, it seems like. I mean, that game was horribly officiated. And, of course, Isaiah Likely has his big toe on the white line to not tie the game up or potentially give them the opportunity to go for 2 there in the end of the fourth quarter.
You sound like a guy
Yes.
that roots for a team that has lost to the Chiefs in a Super Bowl twice in the last 3 years.
That would be correct.
That's what you sound like. And you are accurate. They got break after break, including winning by like a centimeter or whatever it was. It was basically the difference between winning and losing last night. I still think they're the favorite. They lost their opener last year. To your point, they weren't explosive last year. They still won a Super Bowl. Until they're knocked off, they're going to be in the postseason. They'll be favored when they're in the postseason, and somebody's going to have to go through Kansas City to win in 2024.
Like their offense now, Isaiah Pacheco is the lead back, with Travis Kelce being the ultimate safety blanket for Patrick Mahomes. Rashee Rice, even though you could argue why is he playing with everything that happened in the offseason with him, he is turning into a really good wide receiver. And then Xavier Worthy is their explosive play guy. And, by the way, they have the best quarterback in the league. So, and they get away with every hold on the offensive line as well.
Oh, yeah, sure. But other than that, tell us how you really feel.
Yeah.
Chiefs are the favorite until proven otherwise. Next question.
Have you guys lost confidence in Robert Suarez?
No, I have not, because I think this can be drawn up to, hey, he's pitched 4 of the last 5 days, 7 of the last 12 games. He's tired. That's what I'm going to chalk this whole thing up to right now, is why last night was last night. If he gets the next 4 days off, say they don't have to use him this series, and they obviously have that off day on Monday, and say his next outing he does kind of the same thing, then I will start to raise my eyebrows and be like, do we have a problem here? But as of right now, in this moment, I'm not going to go anywhere close to DEFCON 1 or major concerns with Robert Suarez.
Not DEFCON 1, not major concerns, but if my confidence was a 10, it is no longer that. So I have lost some amount of confidence in Robert Suarez, because this has been happening not like last night with the grand slam, but he hasn't been as crisp. He's been leakier, so to speak, recently than he was at any point over the first 4 months of the season. So, no, I haven't lost confidence in him, but I'm losing some confidence in him based on the way he's been pitching, and that includes well beyond what happened last night at Petco Park. Next question.
Who's going to throw for more yards tonight, Jalen Hurts or Jordan Love?
I'll go with Jalen Hurts. That offense now with Saquon Barkley in the mix. They have A.J. Brown. They have why am I blanking on the receivers? I should know this because of Aaron.
Those receivers?
I literally just drawn the biggest blank my entire life.
That's great. You're right.
I just drew the biggest blank my entire life.
Who was Dotson?
Yes, they
John
traded him. No, not him. They traded for Dotson from the Washington Commanders.
Yep. Are you looking for another receiver? Devontae Smith?
Yeah, Devontae Smith. There we go. his offense this year, weapons-wise, and Dallas Goedert's your tight end. Weapons-wise, he should be better than he was last year, you would think, even though last year they kind of had the same core there, just replaced DeAndre Swift with Saquon Barkley. Their offensive line might have gotten a little worse because Jason Kelsey's out instead of Lane Johnson. I'll go with Jalen Hurts tonight because of his weapons.
I think it's going to be Hurts. I think the Eagles win this game, by the way. I think it's a crucial game for Philadelphia because they did a tailspin at the end of last year after losing at home to San Francisco. They went out to lose something like 5 of 6 to close the regular season. Then they were blown out by Tampa Bay in the wild card round. I mean, blown out. They lost that game 32-9. This, to me, is a big game for the Eagles. It happens to be in Sao Paulo, Brazil, of all places, but I'm with you. I think Jalen Hurts is a big game. I think the Eagles survive the Packers here tonight to open the 2024 season. Next question.
Is this a must-win series for the Padres?
Oh,
look, you're getting very dangerously close to every series being a must-win for sure because everything is so tight. Half game up on Arizona, 3 up on the Mets and the Braves. Mets hold the tiebreaker. Yeah, one bad series could mean a lot, especially with how everyone's playing around you. So, I mean, it's not a absolute must-win series. Season's over if you don't beat the Giants 2 out of 3.
right.
But come Monday, if you do lose 2 or 3, or even worse, God forbid, knock on wood, they get swept. I mean, Monday could be a completely different conversation than what we've been having the last month plus.
Yeah, must win. You're right. It's not. I mean, if we get to the final week of the season and they need to win a series, then it's a must-win series. So technically, it's not. But San Francisco at home is among the quote-unquote easier of the remaining series. I think San Francisco on the road is a lot harder than this based on what Jim said earlier, which is that the Giants are not good on the road. They're 10 or 11 games under 500. Yeah, you have the White Sox at home. That hopefully is a layup. But other than that, Dodgers, Diamondbacks, even the Mariners on the road, certainly Houston, even at home. I think a lot of the games to come are challenging.
Yeah.
So this is one of those series that because you have a challenging schedule, hopefully you can win this series.
Yeah, just don't turn this into the Bob Melvin revenge series.
Ooh.
Or the Bob Melvin revenge remainder of the season, the last 6 games versus the Giants.
Is he going to be back?
Bob
not,
Melvin?
not here. I mean, he's not going to be
San
back as
Francisco?
manager. Is he going to be back in 2025?
Dude, I don't know. The whole
Is anyone
thing
gonna be
with
back?
I don't know, man. Like they have spent a lot of money. Farhan there has been a disaster since he started.
I would start that thing over.
It's gone downhill ever since. But they just signed Matt Chapman to a long
6-year deal.
6-year, $151 million deal.
Start over.
Start over.
Start over.
I don't know if they're going to start over.
Yeah, I don't know either.
It's not going great there.
It's like the worst spot to be in baseball is like right in the middle. And that's what they're going to be. Like
mediocre.
15th best record in baseball. 4 games under 500.
80
like
82,
that.
81 81.
Exactly. That's
Yeah.
exactly where they're heading.
We were worried that the Padres could potentially have been there this year and make the postseason. I am so glad that conversation has completely gone away.
Yeah.
And will go away. And it's not even going to be talked about because the Padres are not going to win 82 games. They're already won 80.
Good point.
20 left.
Good point. All right, Kevin Acee will join us at 5 p.m. Coming up next, we're giving away those tickets to see the Marley brothers, including Ziggy Marley, September 11th at the North Island Credit Union Amphitheater. That is next week. And Kevin will join us at 5 p.m. We're at the Naughty Barrel downtown, getting you ready for the Padres tonight against the Giants, NFL Week 1, and, of course, for the Aztecs as well. Stay with us on Jon and Jim.
All right, this update is brought to you by DraftKings Fantasy. Padres and Giants start a 3-game series tonight at Petco Park. 6:40 first pitch. Michael King on the mound for the Padres. Aztecs, they take on Oregon State tomorrow night. 5:30 pregame, 7:30 kickoff. Of course, you can listen to that game right here on San Diego Sports 760. And some bad news for the Aztecs and their offensive line as their starting left tackle, Joe Bourgeon, tore his ACL. He's going to be out for the remainder of the season. Check out what DraftKings has to offer this season with code SPORTS because life's more fun when you're in on the action. DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Age and eligibility restrictions apply. Void where prohibited. See DraftKings.com for details today.
We're counting down to a massive San Diego sports weekend with the faithful. Live from Naughty Barrel, 844 Market Street. It's Padres Giants at Petco and Aztec Fast Part 2 as the Scarlet and Black host Oregon State. Plus, it's NFL Week 1. Now, back to Jon and Jim.
All right, Kevin Acee is our Padres insider. We're at the Naughty Barrel until 6 p.m. Hope you can swing by, say hello, take advantage of their great food and drinks. We're here until 6. Padres will play at 6:40. We talked about Alex Morgan earlier. I just saw this from Darnay Tripp. This is pretty fascinating. So that final match she'll play Sunday at Snapdragon Stadium at 5 p.m. is going to be televised on a variety of platforms. ESPN2, CBS Sports Network, Paramount Plus, Prime Video, NWSL Plus, all will simulcast Sunday's retirement match for Alex Morgan, San Diego against North Carolina. That will be, again, at Snapdragon Stadium, I believe, Sunday at 5 p.m. The final match in the career of Alex Morgan. You can watch it in a variety of different ways, including on ESPN2 this weekend.
That right there just shows how big this is.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, this is like their LeBron. I'm not going to say LeBron retiring, but it's. And if they're doing this for Alex Morgan, yeah, it's a big deal. It's definitely a big deal.
Absolutely.
And Sunday's match starts at 5 p.m. So luckily it's not in the afternoon during the heat wave. And, you know, here at Petco Park, they're giving out water bottles and free sunscreen on Sunday because game starts at 1 o'clock. And, you know, there's no shade in the outfield there. So that's going to be a hot one. But hopefully on Sunday it cools down a little bit. And halfway through that match, the entire stadium will be in the shade.
It's
so
going to be a scene. I mean, I was looking at the Ticketmaster in terms of tickets. I mean, everything by and large, I think, is sold or everything will sell. I don't know if the entire stadium is open or not. Like, I'm speaking out of turn. I know at least one of the decks is open. I don't know if both of them are open or not.
I think the entire upper deck is open.
On both sides?
On both sides.
Okay.
I think their thinking is open it all up, try to get as many people as possible in there.
Yeah, that would make sense.
Like, you got an opportunity to sell that thing out, do everything you possibly can to sell it out.
Yeah, definitely. No, that makes sense.
35K. It's not going to be at 1 o'clock, 5 o'clock. It's still going to be hot as hell, but, you know, it will cool down a little bit, and the entire stadium will be in shade after halftime. So,
yeah, I'm looking right now. Just like how much are tickets to get in to see the Wave play in Alex Morgan's final match? It looks like you can get in for like $30.
Not
honestly.
bad.
So you can get in. There are tickets still
Really
available.
good.
I'm looking right now. There are tickets. I'm sure it's going to sell like crazy.
Oh, I hope
in the hours ahead. But there are tickets still available. So hopefully you'll make your way out to Snapdragon Stadium or Petco Park this weekend, where the Padres again will face the Giants coming up tonight. Game 1 of a series at 6:40. Michael King on the mound for San Diego against this Giants team that, again, the Padres have not seen since April 7th. They're kind of just playing out the string, so to speak. San Francisco, 7.5 games out of a playoff spot. They have no path. They could probably go undefeated and not make it. Now they're just maybe trying to play spoiler, truthfully. Like you said, like Bob Melvin coming here to San Diego where he managed for 2 years.
Yeah.
Their best path to maybe have a good September is to ruin someone's season, and that right now could be potentially San Diego's.
Well, they play them 6 more times. I don't think they play anybody else 6 more times in September.
Yeah, probably not.
That's in the playoff hunt in the National League. Yeah, just don't have this be the Bob Melvin revenge series, because that's kind of what you were thinking when they were playing the D-backs. Like, oh, they're going to roll over against the D-backs and then come here and go all out versus the Padres. Of course, I don't think that is going to be the mindset of the Giants. I think just they're trying to play this thing out. And, I mean, Logan Webb, whenever he's out there and whenever Blake Snell's out there, they're going to want to pitch well. But other than that, for the Giants, they got a bunch of nothing burgers, truthfully.
I bet they're scheduled to finish, Jim. San Diego, Milwaukee, San Diego at Baltimore,
Oh, my
at
gosh.
Kansas City,
Oh,
at Arizona,
oh.
St. Louis at home to finish. That is,
Oh,
I mean, they
jeez.
got no shot. They're so cooked. Now, by the way, if you're planning to watch this game this weekend or these games this weekend, 2 of them are on Apple TV Plus.
Tonight and Sunday.
There's only one game that's on Padres.tv. And Don Orsillo, I want to say, is actually calling the series in Boston.
He's in
this
Boston,
weekend.
yeah.
But he's actually only missing one broadcast because 2 of the games are quote-unquote nationally televised on Apple TV Plus. So this is one of those Apple TV games, one of 2 to come for the. I think I have that right. Sunday is also Apple TV Plus. I think I have that right. That was discussed somewhere. I saw it on social media. I think I saw it from Talking Friars in that little schedule tweet he puts out. I thought I saw that. I could be wrong.
So Sunday. No, Sunday's
Padres.tv. Okay,
Padres.tv.
just kidding. Just kidding. All right, so just tonight, Apple TV.
Yeah, they don't
Okay.
usually do Sunday.
Yeah, I was going to
games,
say, it was
Sean.
weird to me. It was weird to me. I thought I saw it somewhere.
Yeah, Apple
So I
TV Plus
misspoke.
tonight. By the way, Apple TV Plus. Love Apple TV Plus. It's my favorite broadcast.
Oh, it's the best.
It's the best. I love it.
It's the best. We were supposed to have Wayne Randazzo, who's calling the game tonight,
Yeah, thanks a lot, Wayne.
but he bailed. Thanks, Wayne.
Thanks a lot, Wayne.
Maybe next time.
Maybe next
It's-
time, and next time as in never.
It's like the funniest thing. I'm taking people behind the curtain. You know, if you get 100,000 subscribers, you get a silver play button.
What?
Now I'm going to take people behind the curtain. So Apple TV Plus's PR rep has reached out to me like 5 times this season, and they're like, "Hey, can we get someone on to talk about the big game?" I'm like, "Yeah, absolutely." And all 5 times, like, "Oh, we just can't make it work."
Yeah.
I'm like, "You reached out to me.
I know.
I didn't reach out to you. That's what makes this so hard."
Just talk bad about Apple TV Plus PR's reps. That's fine.
It's
fine.
fine.
That's
What
fine.
I'm. No, it's not their Apple TV Plus PR. It's it kind of is actually.
You want scoreboard updates on some games that
I
matter
do.
here, John?
I do.
Well, only one of them. Sorry, 2 of them are underway. Braves and Blue Jays that are scoreless in the top of the 2nd inning. There, Mets have an early 2-0 lead over the Reds. End of the 2nd, heading to the top of the 3rd.
Oh, great.
Mets are a juggernaut right now.
That has the tiebreaker on the Padres and could move to within 2.5 games, basically by the time the Padres start tonight with a win.
And what Francisco Lindor has been doing.
Oh,
a 33-game on-base streak.
he could finish 2nd in MVP voting in the National League, by the way.
Yeah.
Yep.
No one's overtaken Ohtani.
Yep.
But
He's going to finish 2nd.
Francisco Lindor has been amazing. Let's see what if he's done anything tonight.
Probably 2-run home run.
Well, he's gone on base.
Yeah.
And a run scored, so his on-base streak now is extended. He's been fantastic for them. I know he played great here in San Diego. Didn't he hit that grand slam?
I think he had a 2-home-run game. I think he did hit a grand
I
slam.
think it was off
Yeah.
Michael King.
Yeah.
I think he did as well. But of course, Sean Manaea for them has been amazing this year, which is
Of course he is.
just
Just
poetic.
kind of mind-boggling.
I mean, he's 11-5 with a 3.3 ERA and 152 and 2/3 innings pitched, a 1.1 WHIP, 156 strikeouts on the year. But he was lazy in San Diego.
That's what he said.
I know.
He said that. I know.
I know, that lazy piece of.
All right, so Padres need a win potentially to keep pace with the New York Mets, who are charging right now in the NL wildcard race. We mentioned it earlier, Packers, Eagles tonight in Brazil. Speaking of games that are on streaming platforms.
Only on Peacock.
This is only available on Peacock, which, of course, the NFL had a Peacock exclusive game in the postseason last year, Kansas City, Miami.
Drew massive
At
numbers.
Arrowhead, huge viewership. This game by flight is 11 hours from Green Bay and 10 hours from Philadelphia by flight.
Didn't they leave like 2 days ago?
I don't know when they left, but they had to think about what they had to haul. The NFL had to haul to put this game on in Sao Paulo, the first ever NFL game in Brazil. I truly believe this is the NFL's long-term strategy as they go from 17 games to 18 games, as they play games now, not just in London, but also in Munich and now also in Brazil. They played in Mexico City. I believe the long-term strategy is not just a one-off game in Brazil, but a series of one-off games overseas each and every year beyond London as they continue to expand out the reach of the league, because they've already taken market position number 1 in America for the last 40 years. How can they take another market position elsewhere? And that's the reason this game is being played overseas tonight.
I'm not a fan of it at all. Like, at all. It does nothing for me.
Mm-hmm.
the global aspect of the NFL, growing the NFL, okay, but you're making regulars. I mean, the travel is
insane.
I mean, I just traveled to Europe and I was dead for a week when I got back. I was dead. So thinking that if I had to go out and play an NFL game just a couple days after I traveled 10 hours on a flight, like, no thanks. Now they do have first class and they have unlimited space. I didn't have that. Still, travel that kills you, man. So from that standpoint, I think it's doesn't make sense. And from the standpoint of like, you're taking if I'm an Eagles fan, you're taking away a home game for a Brazil game. Like, what? I'm not traveling to Brazil to go watch the Eagles.
Right.
Doesn't make
People will, but yeah, it's a fair point.
I'm not doing that.
And from a viewer standpoint, to me, the only advantage that the Brazil game has over like the England or the Germany game, I don't have to get up at 5 a.m. to watch it.
Because of time zones, so right?
Well, the London games are always at 6 a.m.
Yeah. That is the only
West Coast time.
Yeah, that's the only like check mark plus that this Brazil has over the European games. I don't have to get up at the crack of dawn to watch it.
It's an hour later in Brazil than it is in Philadelphia. So this is an hour ahead of East Coast time tonight. So this game's actually going to kick off at past 9 p.m.
Yeah, I mean
local.
It's going to get massive numbers. Of course, last night was the most watched NBC game ever.
Is that what it was?
The most watched NFL football game ever.
Who was watching?
A lot of people.
Oh, people tuned in?
Yeah, a lot of people were watching.
Neat.
And this will be no different. This will break records, and
it'll break Peacock records.
It will continue to push the NFL towards more streaming than on CBS or Fox or whatever, ESPN, whatever. Like, they're gonna utilize every streaming platform they possibly can and try to take over every single day on the calendar by doing this during the football season. And I mean, it's a great matchup. Of course, you have two of the best fan bases in the Eagles and the Packers. Of course, they're going to all tune into that. Why wouldn't you? First game of the year. I just think it has potential. What's up, man?
What's going on?
How you doing? I think it has potential to be kind of a sloppy game.
We'll see. Coming up in about 30 minutes from Sao Paulo, Brazil. On the other side, have we punted on the division or not, Padres fans? Plus Kevin Acee at 5 p.m. Plus, call right now if you want 2 free tickets to see the Marley Brothers, including Ziggy Marley, Wednesday, September 11th at the North Island Credit Union Amphitheater. 877-767-4760. First caller to 877-767-4760 is going to see the Marley Brothers, including Ziggy Marley, Wednesday, September 11th at the North Island Credit Union Amphitheater. 877-767-4760. Is the division over or not in the NOS? Plus Kevin Acee at 5 on Jon and Jim.
Padres, Giants, Aztecs, Beavers, and the NFL opening weekend continues. Is that enough for you?
This is huge.
As we continue live from Naughty Barrel, it's Jon and Jim.
All right, back with you, Naughty Barrel, downtown, 9th and Market on this really gorgeous Friday night. The temperature is going to be great for baseball coming up at 6:40. Those warm, late summer nights here in San Diego. First of three between the Padres and the Giants coming up. We have Aztec football for you tomorrow night at 7:30 with pregame coverage beginning at 5:30. Can the Padres still win this division or not? Also, speaking of tomorrow night, like what does Marquez Cooper have in store for an encore? 223 yards, 2 touchdowns, second most rushing yards in the nation last week. Dashin Genti of Boise State. Can he follow it up against a really good defense? Oregon State, their head coach is the defensive coordinator, Trent Bray. Can he go over 100 again for San Diego State? We'll find out tomorrow night at 7:30.
I do think early on in this season, you're going to need to lean on Marquez Cooper while Danny O'Neal gets his feet fully underneath him. I think that second half for Danny O'Neal was fantastic. And it's a great building block for his season and his career. Obviously, most importantly, the next game for him.
Mm-hmm.
But to win games, I mean, you're going to need to run the football in this offense. And I think you're going to need to, especially with your left tackle now going down for the rest of the season with the torn ACL, that's going to hurt. But Marquez Cooper is going to be a guy that they're going to lean on and be that explosive back out of the backfield to help Danny O'Neal and the rest of his offense.
They say styles make fights. Oregon State loves running the football. We'll see if San Diego State can run the football effectively tomorrow against the Beavers at Snapdragon Stadium. So we mentioned the fact that the Padres in this NL West are 5 games out with 20 to play. I said last night on the wrap-up show this was a reverse jinx idea. I said it's done. It's finished. There's no path. There is not a realistic scenario beyond 1 in 1,000, maybe 1 in 500. I say it's done. 5 games out with 20 to play. All eyes for me are on the wild card. Agree or disagree?
Probably agree.
6 games back in the loss column. 6.
Yeah, probably agree. It's
unfortunately.
I was holding out hope that they would make this thing interesting and that the final 3 games against the Dodgers at the end of the year was going to truly mean something. The one thing I just do not want to see is the Dodgers celebrating against the Padres for their NL West Division championship at the end of September here. Like if you're going to, hopefully you just, if you're going to lock it up, just lock it up that Sunday. Like don't have it be against, the Padres or having them lock it up during that weekend series versus whoever they play.
Mm-hmm.
Colorado, I think it is. Like, Colorado, they play 6 times the final 9 games of the year.
Mm-hmm.
So to your point, yeah.
I mean, I hope I'm wrong. I'd love to see the Padres close 17-3 and make it happen.
I'm still going to watch what the Dodgers do.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not just going to just completely dismiss it, but I care more about what Arizona's doing and what the Mets are doing and what the Braves are doing more than the Dodgers at this point. Yeah, I'm not going to fully punt on it and just say I'm not even going to look at the Dodgers the rest of the year, but the likelihood of it happening, you're right, it's not very high.
Earlier you mentioned we are scoreboard watching. The Mets had a lead over Cincinnati. That lead is gone. It's now 2-2.
Oh, how about that?
At Citi Field in the 4th inning. However, the Braves have jumped out to a 1-0 lead in the bottom of the 2nd inning on Toronto, and they're threatening for more. So the Padres have not been getting the results they have been looking for, truthfully. Not with Arizona, not with the New York Mets, really in the second half of the season. It's a good thing they've won at this clip. If they hadn't won at this clip, this would be a really big uphill battle with 3 weeks to go. Even with their best winning percentage in baseball in the second half, they're in a dogfight.
That's the crazy part about this whole thing is they've played this well, and they still only have a half-game lead over Arizona. The margins are very thin. The Mets are coming. The Braves are right there. You would think in a regular season they would have like a 5 or 6 game lead on whoever in the wild card race, but they don't. It's all up in the air at this point, and that is it's like, wait, hold on. They played the best baseball in franchise history, and they're only a half game up on Arizona for the fourth seed, and they're still 5 games back of the Dodgers and 6 back in the loss column. Like, what?
Yeah, it's been hard to figure out. I go back to what you've been saying repeatedly, which is we can look at the standings, they can be getting tight, but I'm trusting in the Padres and the eye test they're passing, and they're just going to do enough to get in.
Yeah.
Like, we could do the deep dive and say, oh, this is who you're facing, this is where you're facing them, and all that. Okay, and we're going to continue to do that, but I'm just going to say they've been a great team for the second half of the season. Why wouldn't they continue to at least be a good team to finish the season?
That's my
That's
theory
the
on
theory,
it.
yeah.
I think and that they have instilled over the last month and a half here, since the second half started, is not going to break them. Like last night's loss, as devastating as it was, giving them a grand slam in the ninth inning, to lose that game, I just don't think that's going to be something that's going to have this team have a weak stretch where they don't play good baseball. Like it could have been in the past, it easily could have been in the past, and it was. And it's just as early as this season when it happened in Kansas City, and then they had a horrible rest of the week. And I don't see that happening here now.
Let's catch up with Kevin Acee on the Padres on the other side. He's our Padres insider. What is the update on Ha-Seong Kim's health? What does he make of what happened last night? How does it impact the Padres moving forward? Kevin Acee is our Padres insider. He will join us coming up next to kick off hour number 3 of Jon and Jim. Stay with us.
This update is brought to you by Caltrans. Padres and Giants start a 3-game series tonight at Petco Park. 6:40 first pitch. Michael King on the mound for the Padres. Tomorrow, Aztecs, they take on Oregon State. Game 2 of their season at Snapdragon Stadium. 5:30 pregame, 7:30 kickoff with John and Rich. You can listen to that game right here on San Diego Sports 760. Attention California drivers, the kids of Caltrans workers count on you to keep their loved ones safe. So when you see a highway work zone, please slow down and pay attention. Remember, that's someone's loved one out there. Be work zone alert.
We're counting down to a massive San Diego sports weekend with the faithful. Live from Naughty Barrel, 844 Market Street. It's Padres Giants at Petco as the run to the playoffs continues. And it's Aztec Fast Part 2 as the Scarlet and Black host Oregon State. Plus, it's NFL Week 1. Time to get this party started with Jon and Jim.
All right, hour 3, Jon and Jim, Naughty Barrel downtown on this warm Friday night to kick off Padres and Giants game, one of a 3-game series. We are here until 6 p.m. It's always our pleasure to connect with our Padres insider, Kevin Acee, on San Diego Sports 760 to kick off hour 3 here. So, Kevin, first of all, we appreciate it. Secondly, we always look for injury updates, and they have gotten healthier in talking about the Padres. But what's the latest on Ha-Sung Kim as they look to get back to, quote-unquote, full health potentially between now and hopefully the start of the postseason for the Padres?
Ha-Sung took at-bats against minor league pitchers today. Here's the thing about that. I really think that was to make sure that he didn't go any longer without seeing those kind of at-bats, because the issue here is his throw. That's the issue with the right shoulder. And so he has, Mike Schilt will say, and it's true, he's throwing across the diamond. Well, when he's throwing across the diamond, he's not throwing anywhere near full strike. So I think that we're still a few days away. I could be wrong. I mean, maybe he went out today, and what I've seen the last few days, that he's out there firing, and I just, people are keeping it from me. I don't know. I mean, they're pretty secretive about injuries, but based on the people that I've talked to before today, and then what you see, it still appears that he's a few days away at least. So that's where we're at.
Is there any consideration? I know they've been doing a Mason McCoy and Tyler Wade combo here. Is there any consideration now with Nick Ahmed in the fold to have him be up at the big league level here, or no?
If Ha-Sung Kim can't come back in, I don't know what that timetable would be, but like right now, no. I mean, Mason McCoy has served a role as the number 9 hitter, has been more than serviceable in the field, and you could argue serviceable at the plate. And Nick Ahmed, certainly based on his long history, probably not going to be better at the plate.
Kevin Acee is our Padres insider, is with us right now on Jon and Jim. Based on what happened last night with Robert Suarez, I think it goes a little bit beyond last night, though. He's been shakier here recently than certainly he was the first 3 or 4 months of the season. Is there any concern there with the way Suarez has been pitching? Not just last night. I don't think it's about the grand slam. I think it's more about the walks. But do you think there's any concern there with the organization or not?
Yeah, I mean, he hasn't had very many clean innings, even when he's not allowing runs. And look, it happens, and I wouldn't want to be like sounding some, alarm deal here. I forgot the metaphor I was going to make, but anyway, I wouldn't want it to be like a shrill alarm, like, oh my gosh, but yes, concern. Now I'll first say the good thing. They've got Tanner Scott. They've got Jason Adam. They got Jeremiah Estrada. That's awesome, right? But wait, Robert Suarez is supposed to be that guy. I think that what's working some time. They are able to come through this without missing 2 weeks or something. It's amazing what they're able to do. And that's probably what will happen with Robert Suarez. They'll come out of this just fine. But yes, and this is sort of the low-level alarm that I've been sounding for a month. Like, hey, these guys are working a lot. And so I think we're just maybe seeing a little bit of that right now.
And would you say it also has to do with this is the most innings that Robert Suarez has pitched his entire career, especially coming off last season when he had a bad year, he missed time because of injury, and then he got suspended. So, getting him some time off here is priority number one for the team, correct?
Well, it's one of them, sure. If you're talking about like right now, with the
Well, for him,
yeah,
for him,
to be able to avoid, yeah, for him, yes, absolutely, and to avoid him as they can. And look, one thing is you and I we can look at the metrics, we can look at the innings and see the kind of markers that we all have gone on in the past and that teams still do go on. But I will say that, like, the way that they look at this, like biometrically, the way that the things that they look at, clearly they think Robert Suarez can do the workload that he has been doing. So like real science behind that. So I'm not attacking the Padres at all. I am just saying that, like, this is sort of like, you could see that this is a possibility that it would be coming at some point.
Kevin Acee is our Padres insider, is with us right now. Jon and Jim, San Diego Sports 760. Circling back to Fernando Tatis Jr., I know it's only been a couple of games. He had that massive moment, obviously, with his first career walk-off hit. What do you think that means for him moving forward, having that moment?
I think it was real big, like potentially big, let's say, in that he had a double earlier, but like, he's a big moment guy, right? And he's coming back from 2.5 months off. And, you know, to get that, to say, okay, I'm that guy still that does that. And the way that he thrives on those moments and the way that it's always so exciting for the rest of us, you know, he does something. This time it was the shirt was off, right? Like, I mean, there's always something. Like, Fernando Tatis Jr. knows moments. He was made for them, like it seems Jackson Merrill is, right? So I do think that was big. Now, look, clearly, let's see, he is 10 times more mobile and athletic than 37-year-old David Peralta. He is clearly not Fernando Tatis Jr. at 100% right now. And that's okay. They've made the decision based on what they see on MRIs, their medical expertise, how he feels, what he does look like, and says he feels like. They've made the decision that that's okay and that they're not putting him at risk, and that obviously a 90%, a 95%, I don't know, Fernando Tatis Jr. is better than most players, so it's all good. It's just, it's clear, like, he's still got some, you know, healing to do and some, you know, getting used to playing Major League Baseball again to do.
Elias Diaz, newcomer to this team, is he a guy that, if this team makes the postseason, could he make the postseason roster over Luis Campusano?
Yeah.
How do they view him right now in the fold?
Yes. Yes, and I think that more starts where every ball he puts in play is 108 miles an hour, and he's not lazy about, you know, Luis tends to sometimes has driven past managers crazy, and has lapses defensively that as long as he doesn't, Elias Diaz does not do that. And I think that it's a real possibility, and that's not me saying that. Like, that's me talking to people, and like, they're not saying that he's going to replace Luis Campusano, but they're not ruling it out. So, yeah.
Who's available tonight in the Padres bullpen?
Possibly Tanner Scott, who seems to be able to do like crazy things. I'm told Brian Hoeing, Adrian Morejon, Yuki Matsui, but I think you're talking about 9th inning, 1 run. Yeah. We'll see. It'll be one of those games where it'd be good to jump on a rookie starter and get a 7-run lead.
This is kind of a random
5-run lead, because we all know that, you know, having a 5-run lead would be better.
Oh, yeah.
But,
yeah.
Did you know that? Did you know that, Kevin?
Yeah, 5-run leads, Kevin. Don't ask that question ever again. This is kind of a random one here, but Matt Waldron, he got sent down, and we haven't really heard from him at all. Is this just a situation of Martin Perez has been pitching great, and they're just going to stick with him, and probably not going to see Matt Waldron again this year?
Well, sure. Things could come up. They could win 10 in a row and be trying to give some guys some rest going into the playoffs, and you could see Matt Waldron. Someone could get hurt, and you could see Matt Waldron. As of now, these 5 guys they have are the guys they're going with, and with the off days they have, the ability to, you know, maneuver the rotation to make sure that the right guys are getting their rest. Yeah, I mean, They would never say that because they want Matt Waldron. You know, it's not like they lied about it. Like they want Matt Waldron to come back and help them. But yeah, he's not one of their best 5 in their estimation right now.
Darvish obviously returns. He didn't pitch on a rehab appearance. He struggles in his return. He could probably still make another 4 starts or so here in September. What is the organization's reaction to the way he has pitched and what they hope to see from him moving forward?
You know, they thought he pitched better than, giving up a run an inning and having to get out, in the 3rd inning. Again, going biometrically, they were absolutely convinced. I mean, they were raving about how he pitched in that controlled minor league game that he pitched in, which is not a rehab assignment officially, but, they felt like that was game. He's Darvish. They're fine with where he's at. I think we are all correct to ask the question of, okay, like, what will the next one be like, right? That maybe it was, obviously it would be able to expect him to come back and be during their injury time. Really different. Yours is more traditional. And so, and people are different. But I think they would expect that he would be better than he was that night. And I think that's a reasonable expectation. He'd be better the more that he pitches. But there were some times he definitely looked like you. He did not have put away stuff. And, sometimes that's okay. It was kind of a start like you would expect almost. Maybe another inning. But you would have almost expected that kind of start from Darvish coming back.
Kevin, final one from me. Any discussion going forward about potentially moving up Jackson Merrill in the lineup? I mean, he's one of their best hitters of the team, and he's hitting 7th right now. I have contested to keep him there, but has been there any discussion with the Padres organization about moving him up closer we get to the postseason?
There has been, but then they'll also treat you like an idiot if you ask questions, which if you are reading me on a regular basis, you know that I've written about it. So, so it's like, yeah, that could happen for sure. Absolutely. We know where the hitter he is. We know in the future he's going to be up in the lineup. But right now, and it's consistent with their entire in spring training, right? We're not going to put too much on this kid. And they did not know he was going to be batting 294 or whatever he's at right now. But they did say that no matter how good he does. Now, I don't know what they had in mind when they thought that, team MVP or whatever. But no matter what, we can't get caught up in the moment. He has a long career, and also we've seen guys, you get moved up. And it happened to Jackson. Now, it happened during some slumpy times, but he did too much when he batted first, and he tried to do too much when he batted third. And that was one day, right? Like maybe it wouldn't have been that way. The kid's shown an amazing ability to adjust and to recognize and even be like almost prophetic about, what he needs to do. But we've seen it, right? But remarkably, I feel bad almost pointing that out because the kid's been incredible about not trying to do too much. But that's what they don't want, right? Plus, hey, here's the thing. It's kind of hard to argue with. When he was batting in that 6th spot, right? He was getting some big at bats. It was coming up. The 6th spot is one of those spots they look at that is like a second leadoff spot, or it can be if your fours and fives are hitting. It can be an RBI spot, and certainly it was working out. And he was also coming up at times when, hey, 6th hitter. Most teams are like, all right, cool, we got the 6th hitter with 2 outs in the 9th. You got Jackson Merrill with 2 outs in the 9th, and you're thinking, something big could happen, and for a lot of times it has. So it's hard to argue with that this is work. He is a rookie. Let's get too crazy here, folks, right? But also, hey, maybe, somebody else for the 7, him for the 6. I mean, yeah, look, it's been working, and I can't argue with that.
Yeah, it's almost like it's a good problem. The way their lineup has produced, it's a good thing to have this much depth within their lineup. Kevin, we appreciate it. We'll catch up with you next week from Northern California as the Padres will be in San Francisco. Thanks for doing it.
Take care, guys. See ya.
All right, we're going to react to our conversation with Kevin Acee on the other side from the Naughty Barrel downtown here in San Diego. Stay with us on Jon and Jim. All right. Hey, guys, it is Jon and Jim. And, of course, the NFL is back. It's the best time of the year. NFL, college, Major League Baseball postseason. And with Underdog Fantasy, you can win 325 times your money just by choosing higher or lower on your favorite player's stats.
Yeah, we have big-time plays all season long. Last night, Travis Kelce higher than a half yard. Yeah, that hit. Download the Underdog Fantasy app right now. Use our promo code Jon and Jim, JONANDJIM. You could bet as little as $10 and win up to $1,000 in cash by just picking higher or lower on your favorite players.
Get your Padres pick'ems in for tonight as well, plus the NFL between, of course, the Eagles and the Packers. Go to the mobile app or go to UnderdogFantasy.com. Sign up with promo code Jon and Jim, JONANDJIM. Underdog's going to give you a highly discounted pick to use on your first pick'em entry, plus a 50% deposit match up to $1,000. That's Underdog Fantasy, promo code Jon and Jim to claim your new customer offer of a gimme first pick and your deposit offer.
Yeah, download the Underdog Fantasy app right now and use our promo code Jon and Jim. You must be 18 years or older and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms do apply. Concerned with your play, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org.
It's Padres, Giants, Aztecs, Beavers, and the NFL opening weekend continues. Is that enough for you?
This is huge.
As we continue live from Naughty Barrel, it's Jon and Jim.
All right, beautiful late afternoon, early evening downtown San Diego. Warm one tonight for the Padres and the Giants. Michael King on the mound. We just had Kevin Acee on the show talking about Ha-Seong Kim's health, about Robert Suarez's effectiveness or lack thereof. It didn't sound like Kim was coming back like tomorrow.
No, it didn't, actually.
But maybe at some point when they head to the road next week, he would return. But it's been, remember the initial prognosis was he'll go in the IL, but he'll come off when he's available to come off. And now it's stretched out well below, beyond that with Ha-Seong Kim.
Well, the shoulder is nothing to not take lightly. You have to be serious about what's going on with your shoulder, especially if you're going to be shortstop of this team. And going forward, if they continue to play like they've been playing, it gives them an opportunity to slow play this a little bit, make sure that you're close to 100% when you get back.
Mm-hmm.
And if Mason McCoy and Tyler Wade, they're nothing to write home about, but would you say Tyler Wade, that one game in St. Louis that really made me mad or the one game
committed the error.
Yeah. Was it last? I think it was at home.
That was here.
Yeah, it was here. And I was like, dude, we can't. This can't happen.
Yep.
So you've seen a lot of Mason McCoy out there. They haven't
Doubt about it.
Yeah.
I mean, again, it's the last piece of the puzzle. I actually think there's an additional piece, which is Darvish being effective and being stretched out.
Yeah, that's it. That's a big piece right there.
And the other thing is, it's not just about stretching guys out; it's about winning. Because, I look at these scoreboards and I see the Braves leading tonight. I see the Mets in a 2-2 game with the Reds. I know what's on the line here, and I know if it gets any tighter, I'm going to be super concerned. If we wake up on Monday morning and the Padres are one game up in a playoff spot, or a game and a half up in a playoff spot, that's concerning to me. Now, hopefully that doesn't happen. They take care of business this weekend against the Giants, win 2 out of 3 or more. But it's these teams just won't lose. Atlanta, New York, Arizona, to the point where you have no other option other than to win more than half of your games from here on out to guarantee your way into the postseason.
You just have to continue on with the best stretch in franchise history to just squeak into the postseason by a game or a couple games.
Yeah, just keep playing 800 baseball all year.
And not end up with 84 wins, but end up with 93 wins.
95 wins and they're the 6th seed.
What?
Playing the Dodgers. No, that wouldn't happen, but
no, I know it wouldn't happen. Hopefully it wouldn't happen.
Yeah, the Dodgers are going to be the 1 seed in all likelihood, right?
Philadelphia would like to talk about that.
All right, well, the Dodgers could be the 1 seed. Philadelphia could be the 1 seed. The Padres shouldn't be the 6th seed, but again, their lead over the 6th seed right now is just 3 games in the National League. All right, we are at the Naughty Barrel, by the way. We've been here all day long.
Yes.
We've been eating. We've been drinking. They have the NFL on. So if you're looking to start your weekend anywhere downtown, start it here. We have Eagles-Packers, first Friday night NFL opening weekend game since 1970, going on in Brazil. It'll be on within the next hour when they play the Giants. Then this weekend, of course, the Padres and the Giants are playing as well. There's college football, NFL Week 1, Sunday and Monday as well. So this is the spot. This is the spot to be, and it's filling up nicely here tonight.
And this is a rare weekend. If you're a San Diego sports fan, you all weekend long could be at a San Diego sporting event.
That's right.
Tonight, Giants, Padres, obviously the whole weekend, Giants, Padres. Tomorrow, San Diego State, Oregon State at Snapdragon Stadium. Sunday, the farewell game for Alex Morgan and the Wave at Snapdragon Stadium. This is I was joking with Aaron because tonight, me and her are going to the Padres game. Tomorrow, me and her are going to the San Diego State, Oregon State game. I was joking hey, do you want to go back to Snapdragon on Sunday to watch Alex Morgan's final game with the Wave?
What did she say about that?
She's like, wait,
wait, what?
Huh?
More sports?
More sports? So we probably won't go to that on Sunday, but at least we'll be able to watch it because it's on every single platform imaginable for her final game. Did you see?
Yeah.
I know you mentioned it earlier.
I mentioned it, yeah.
But just again, here, let me pull this up. They tweeted about it, the Wave. On Sunday, it will be on CBS Sports Network, Paramount Plus, ESPN2, ESPN Plus, Prime Video, NWSL Plus, and KUSI San Diego.
So there's a lot of ways to watch the game. If you can't make it, there's a lot of ways to watch the game.
Right. There's a lot of different ways. But just to the point of how, we talk a lot about, there's not enough sports here in San Diego. Well, this weekend, you get the sports fix with San Diego.
Getting everything. And again, join us tomorrow on San Diego Sports 760 with pregame coverage. Ben Fletcher, J.R. Tolver from the River Block Party tailgate area by Snapdragon Stadium beginning at 5:30. It really shouldn't be a kickoff at 7:30 when the sun will be down tomorrow night for San Diego State.
Yeah, as long as the sun's down,
Oregon.
I'm fine.
Yeah.
Humidity, okay, but
I mean, if it's anything like today, which by the way we're in the shade, it's not that crazy.
I'm a little sweaty.
But when the sun is down,
yeah, sun's down, it's
not
fine.
going to be warm at
I
all.
think it's fine. I'm okay with it, even though my house is a hot box.
Well, yeah, no, it's hot
yeah.
during the day. Make no mistake, it's been
It's
hot.
definitely hot.
It's the hottest week of the year.
Yeah, I'm glad that we bought that portable AC a couple years ago.
Yeah, you've needed that
because we would have been screwed.
All right, we are getting you ready for the Padres and the Giants. We're keeping an eye on the Eagles and the Packers from Brazil. Jim's back page ahead. And coming up next, we're giving away tickets to see Train with REO Speedwagon Tuesday, September 10th at the North Island Credit Union Amphitheater. Tickets and info at Ticketmaster.com. Train with REO Speedwagon plus Jim's Back Page over the next 30 minutes from the Naughty Barrel on Jon and Jim.
All right, this update is brought to you by Caltrans. Padres and Giants. They have a 3-game series starting tonight at Petco Park. 6:40 first pitch. Michael King on the mound for the Padres. NFL Week 1, Packers and Eagles in Brazil. That has just kicked off. About 10 minutes left in the first quarter there. It was a scoreless game between those two teams. And San Diego State takes on Oregon State tomorrow night at Snapdragon Stadium. It's 5:30 pregame, 7:30 kickoff. You can listen to that game right here on San Diego Sports 760. And Sunday afternoon at Snapdragon Stadium, 5 p.m., will be Alex Morgan's final game with the San Diego Wave. Attention, California drivers, the kids of Caltrans workers, count on you to keep their loved ones safe. So when you see a highway work zone, please slow down and pay attention. Remember that someone's loved one out there. Be work zone alert.
We're counting down to a massive San Diego sports weekend with the faithful. Live from Naughty Barrel, 844 Market Street. It's Padres Giants at Petco and Aztec Fast Part 2 as the Scarlet and Black host Oregon State. Plus, it's NFL Week 1. Now, back to Jon and Jim.
All right, get to the Naughty Barrel downtown on this warm but beautiful Friday night in downtown San Diego. Padres and Giants an hour away. The Naughty Barrel's got the NFL on right now, as Jim just told you about, between the Packers and the Eagles. And, of course, they'll have the Padres on tonight against the Giants as well. I saw an interesting tweet. You may wonder why the NFL is played on Sunday and high school football is played on Friday and college football is played on Saturday. And it's basically because of an act of Congress that goes back to like 1960. Typically, you don't have the NFL going up against college, right? The NFL will not play on Saturdays during the college football season. They'll play the last 2 weeks of the year. And the NFL doesn't go up against high school football on Friday. But things are changing, is the point. There's been this like act based on Congress from the 60s. And things are changing where the NFL is kind of impeding on where college football is, and college football is impeding with the expanded college football playoff on where the NFL is. This is the first Friday night NFL game in forever, like 50 or 60
especially for week 1
years. So I guess that could be going away. This idea that college is played on Saturday, NFL is played on Sunday, high school football is played on Friday. It feels like that's getting muddied here as the years go by, especially with the NFL. They just take over every day.
Yeah, it's because there's just so much, and the NFL wants to take over as many days as possible on the sports calendar when their season is underway.
Yeah.
I mean, it's what's college football last weekend. You had a game Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday.
Right.
That's what the NFL is trying to do here. I mean, I bet you if they could, they would have a game tomorrow night, except you got Texas, Michigan. That's in the morning, though, right?
Is that big noon kickoff at 9 a.m.? But again, the NFL doesn't play on Saturdays during the college football season. It's basically like written in.
And once December hits, then
they can because
take over
the regular
Saturday.
season is over.
Right.
Exactly.
But no, tomorrow, John. Yeah, 9 a.m. Kickoff in Ann Arbor. Trying to see what the big game is tomorrow night.
I think it's kind of the big game of the day.
Talk about like the primetime game. So you got.
That's the big game. That's the biggest game.
I mean, Oregon, Boise State, 7 p.m. Peacock, though. ABC, Clemson, Appalachian State.
No. The biggest game of the day is Michigan. Texas.
No, I know. I'm just saying, like the primetime 5 p.m. kickoff, 4:45 kickoff game.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, the NFL is just taking over everything. Everything. Friday. Do you like the Friday night kickoff?
I kind of do. To be honest with you, like you said, more the merrier. I don't hate it.
No.
I really don't. This is what Chris Vanini at The Athletic wrote. The NFL can do a Friday night game tonight because the Sports Broadcasting Act of 1961 protects Friday nights and Saturdays for high school football and college from the second Saturday in September to the second Saturday in December. But tonight is the first Friday in September. So basically, the NFL can play tonight, but once we get going into the college football season and the high school season, they can't play on Fridays and Saturdays. But that's changing, dude. I'm telling you, these guys, college is going up against the NFL and vice versa because the playoff is the same day as a lot of NFL games. That expanded college football playoff, that Saturday, that December 21st, that's going right up against. Remember, it's like Chiefs, I forget who. Chiefs someone is playing the same day as the expanded college football playoff.
Yeah.
We talked about it this summer.
Yeah, I remember someone tweeting out the schedule of like the weekend schedule.
Yeah.
They're like, by the way, from X date to X date, it's like final week of the regular season, and then the next weekend you have this. You have like the college football playoff starting, and then the national championship game here, and the semifinals, and then this and that. And it's like almost every day besides Wednesday and Tuesday, there's like a game on, in college or the NFL
for like a month straight.
Yeah, like there is no days off, none.
Yeah, I mean, I'm all for
which I like.
More TV windows for football, in my opinion, are good. Like that's a positive development. So maybe we will see more. I think it goes back to what we said like within the last hour. Like I think games in Brazil will become more commonplace than a rarity. I think you'll see them play games in South America. You'll see them play games in other European cities. I think you could see them play games in Asia. or Canada or Mexico City. I just think that that's what the NFL wants. I think they want to spread their wings as they continue to grow this sport internationally.
Because they're probably thinking to themselves, like, hey, can we make a dent in the soccer crowd in Europe?
Well, it's like the NBA is popular overseas, and they play games overseas.
For sure.
And the league is very European now. Like the NBA has a lot of European players. That's not necessarily the NFL.
No, not yet.
Do you think they'll ever get there? Not necessarily.
I wonder if we will. Like a lot of European
at some
players.
point. Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't think so.
It doesn't seem like it.
I don't envision that happening.
That's kind of what their goal might be, isn't it? To maybe get more international players too, along with viewers.
Maybe.
Yeah. The one thing I do not want them to do is ever have a Super Bowl in Europe.
Yeah, we're both kind of opposed to that. Like,
I'm not. No. Okay. And another thing, don't move a team or have an expansion team in Europe either. Don't do it.
Well, if it's one team, it doesn't seem to make any sense.
Doesn't make it. The travel would be insane. I wouldn't want to be on that team. Like the fan base of that team, like you're not making a dent over there with an NFL team being that's their home base over anything soccer related.
I think the only way to do it, and I'm with you, I don't want to see a division of teams in Europe, but I think the only way to do it is with a division of teams. Like if you went from 32 to 36, and you put two teams in London, one team in Paris, and one team in Munich, Germany.
They did that. It was called NFL Europe.
I remember it. But if you play, they play each other twice a year, and they only come to the mainland like 2 or 3 times a year.
And with the NFL product right now, you have a bunch of, you have what, John? Close to maybe 10 teams that you could see winning the Super Bowl this year, and then the rest of the NFL is like
not more than that. It's not more than.
It's not more than that. No. So to add more to that pile of potentially blah teams,
who's going to be the quarterback in the Munich Birds?
Not happening. Don't know. I just knowing how greedy the NFL is,
I feel like it is going to.
Guarantee they've already talked about it.
They've been playing annual games in London for 20 years. Yes, that's created revenue. It's added a TV window at 6 a.m. Pacific, 9 a.m. Eastern.
Right.
But I got to imagine there's a further goal than just playing in London for 20 consecutive years with the Jaguars. Like at some point, they're going to be awarded with something more than just a Jaguars game. Right? Like at some point.
We're doing this for you for a long time. Can we get a little something out of this?
Can we get a franchise out of this?
We're kind of getting gypped in this deal.
Yeah, like enough of the Jaguars. We don't need to see them every single week.
Who is the London game this year?
Well, there's like 6 of them.
I know. There's a bunch.
Bears are in one of them, I know.
International games, NFL 2024.
It's just if you're one of the home teams, you have to forfeit a home game to play in London. Not the big boys aren't. How much do you think it took the Philadelphia Eagles to forfeit a home game to play in Brazil to start their season?
Probably took
a lot.
Obviously tonight, Packers Eagles in Brazil, October 6th, Jets Vikings from London. I can't even say the name of it. And then Bears Jaguars again from London on the 13th of October.
And Jaguars Patriots the next week. The Jaguars will stay in London and play back-to-back weeks.
Wow.
And then there's a game in Munich November 10th between the big Giants-Panthers game that everyone's talking about.
Oh, that's a big game.
And then there's going to be a game in 2025 in Madrid in Spain.
You think the London people are going to be like, oh, yes, the Patriots. And they'll be like, wait a minute, where's Tom Brady?
Yeah. Oh, it's amazing. We get the Patriots. Oh, wait, they're the worst team in the NFL.
Right. Oh, exactly.
Right. Like
nobody
excitement
told
from
us.
2015. Yeah, this would have been huge 10 years ago. This would have been huge. All right. We are getting ready for Padres baseball here tonight. I'm giving a fist bump to my wife.
So John's wife just showed up.
Well,
I wave at her, and John gives her a fist bump?
I'm trying to do 2 things at once.
You just gave your wife a fist bump?
What's wrong
Well,
with
what do you want
that?
me to do? Yeah, Brent says, what's wrong with that? Kristen says it's weird.
But the reaction of Kristen, she was like,
well,
what are you doing?
I don't know. I'm on the air.
You do weird stuff when you're put in a situation where you have to
what am I doing
do
right
something
now?
very quickly.
Exactly. Anyway, we're going to a concert downtown. You're going to Padres Giants.
Oh, must be nice.
We're going to see Big Boy from Outkast and
nice.
Trombone Shorty
Yes.
at the Ready Shell.
I'm
Well,
going-
you're slumming it in the suites at Petco Park eating sushi for Padres Giants.
Yeah, sorry. My bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's okay.
All right. So here's what we're going to do. We're at the Naughty Barrel. We're here until 6 o'clock. Get down here because Eagles and Packers are playing. Padres and Giants are going to be on TV. Even if you don't have tickets to the game, get down here. They have football on all night. They have baseball on all night as well on this Friday to kick off your weekend on this warm weekend in San Diego. We'll take a timeout. On the other side, we have Jim's back page. But call right now if you want 2 free tickets to see Train with REO Speedwagon. This is Tuesday, September 10th at the North Island Credit Union Amphitheater. Tickets and info at Ticketmaster.com. Call right now. First caller to 877-767-4760 has 2 free tickets to see Train with REO Speedwagon. Again, the first caller to 877-767-4760 is going to see Train with REO Speedwagon.
By the way, the
Eagles look like they're sleepwalking in Brazil.
The Jalen Hurts will have a better game than Jordan Love tonight. It's probably not going to happen because this is now his second turnover of the game, Jalen Hurts.
Second pick of the first quarter?
No, he did.
Oh, fumble.
Oh, maybe they should have had Jason Kelsey stay
No, he
around.
had a pick earlier.
A pick and a fumble
Yeah,
now.
well, that's on the center, Jason Kelsey's replacement.
Unbelievable. Maybe a little less podcasting, a little more snapping in the NFL. All right, Jim's back page coming up next.
It's Padres, Giants, Aztecs, Beavers, and the NFL opening weekend continues. Is that enough for you?
This is huge.
As we continue live from Naughty Barrel, it's Jon and Jim.
All right, final time on this Friday afternoon, the Naughty Barrel, downtown San Diego, where the Padres and Giants will play about 2 blocks from here in 1 hour at 6:40. Trying to put yesterday behind them. Yesterday, not great. If you're a Padres fan, everything going beautifully until a 2-out, 2-strike grand slam in the 9th.
Other than that, everything was great.
It was an awesome game.
Yeah, it was a great game, other than the fact they gave up a grand slam in the 9th inning and they lost.
Other than the grand slam,
yeah,
they won the game.
Yeah, 8 2/3, great game.
Yeah, 8 2/3 and 2 strikes. It looked really
good. And then
good.
the game sucked.
So can they put that behind them and win the opener against the Giants? Heavy favorites tonight. The Padres are heavy favorites tonight behind Michael King in the opener against the San Francisco Giants. So Jim's going there. I'm heading to the Radies Shell. But first, let's get to this.
The Game 3 used basketball from the 2009 NBA Finals, John. It was the series that marked Kobe's 4th title and first without Shaquille O'Neal. A basketball sold for $33,600 at an auction this past week.
Why did you say a basketball? Like it's not gonna be a football. A basketball. Well, yeah, it was Game 3 of the NBA Finals.
The hockey puck from the NBA Finals.
I'm emphasizing.
Oh, you're saying because that's a lot of money for just a ball?
For just a basket.
$33,000 for a ball from the 2009 NBA Finals.
Yeah, first
signed or anything?
Kobe's 4th. No, not signed. Nothing.
But used in the game.
Used in the game. It's a used basketball in the game.
$33,000.
$33,000.
Appropriate.
Appropriate. Moving on here. We love the crumble cookie updates on this show now. At least I do.
We just got crumble cookies yesterday.
They're fantastic.
Yeah.
But they release new ones every single week.
Yeah.
Like special ones. Here is what to expect for next week coming up at Crumble Cookies, all right? You have a new Biscoff Tres Leches cake. You have a confetti cake, brownie sundae, a blueberry crumb cake, maple square, and a regular chocolate cake. Those are the...
What did we pick up yesterday? And by we, I mean you, Kristen. A churro cookie and a chocolate, like a double chocolate. Yeah. Their cookies are legit.
These aren't even
after
like
the
cookies anymore.
After the wrap-up show last night, I saw the half cookie, and I'm like, I have to have a piece of this.
Oh, yeah.
It was just staring at me, and I was staring at it.
The crumble cookies are amazing.
They're ridiculous.
We had so Beetlejuice, the new movie's coming out, and they have a special crumble cookie, and they brought the crumble cookies to our station the other day. I know you didn't have one.
Thanks for asking me.
Well, here's the thing: snooze, you lose. And
it was earlier in the day.
It was very earlier in the day. Yeah. So they had the special Beetlejuice crumble cookie, and it wasn't even a crumble cookie. It was like a cake. It's like a mini cake.
It was like one of those Oreo cakesters on steroids.
Yeah, it was delicious. So those are the new crumble cookies / like cake / whatever coming.
How is it? Let me ask
crumble
this.
Cookie in the next week.
How is it that every day you eat Fritos, crumble cookies, Coke, whatever, and you basically look the same every day?
That's a great question, John.
He's got a good metabolism.
The metabolism is in my favor at this point in my life. Probably in 5 years, it's gonna be a little different.
Yeah, I'm taking the over on like 40 pounds heavier.
Look, I'm getting it out of the way now. So when I'm like 40, I don't have to.
You're just gonna eat lettuce all day?
Yeah, I'm gonna be like you.
Yeah,
just eat lettuce and tofu every single day of my life.
All right.
And finally, this is big, John. McDonald's is bringing back a fan favorite, the snack wraps. The franchise have been enthusiasts of the franchise have long been calling for the return of the iconic snack wrap that debuted in 2016. Now McDonald's has hinted that they are going to release a new take on the snack wrap coming soon.
What's the new take?
I don't know, but it's in development right now.
When we say enthusiasts have long been pushing for the return, I spend a lot of time on social media.
John,
I haven't seen anyone be like, "Yo,
John,
Mickey D's."
John, are you a McDonald's enthusiast?
No.
Okay, then you wouldn't see any of it on social media.
If you're a McDonald's enthusiast, you probably like hamburgers, and you're not like, I love this place, but I'd really love it if they brought back the snack wrap.
I'm telling you, man, the snack wrap, Brent, back me up on this. Snack wrap was pretty big back in the day.
It was big. I didn't like it because it had lettuce and stuff in it, but they were big.
They were big. They were big. They gave the consumer that feeling of, oh, I'm eating something healthy from McDonald's.
It's like fried chicken in a tortilla, right?
No, it's fried chicken in a lettuce wrap.
Oh, in a lettuce wrap.
Yeah.
Okay.
And a tortilla.
You're thinking KFC. KFC has wraps
Okay,
too, John.
yes,
that's like
yeah.
a chicken
Okay.
strip and a tortilla. Yeah.
So be on the lookout, McDonald's enthusiasts, for the snack wrap. There you go.
Returning this year?
Well, no, it's in development right now to make its return either later this year or next year.
It's not a new car brand development. Just put the thing together.
You have to go through like trials, John. You have to
They're
make a snack
developing new
wrap.
lettuce wrapping technology, John.
Right.
Dude, this is a big thing, man. You have to develop the food. You have to go through a trial. You have to have people eat it, and then you have to determine if it's good enough to go nationwide or not.
All right.
John, no, whatever.
This week is over, isn't it?
It's done.
All right.
We're done.
Here's what I will say. We do have Aztecs football tomorrow at 7:30 with pregame coverage with Ben Fletcher and Jarrett Tolver beginning at 5:30. J.D. Wicker will be on that show during the 2-hour pregame coverage. Gloria Navarez, the Mountain West commissioner, will swing by during our 2-hour pregame. Myself and Rich on the call. Big game in the Mountain West and for San Diego State tomorrow night at Snapdragon Stadium. And then simultaneously this weekend, you have this big series for the Padres. 20 games to go. That's it. 20 games to go for the Padres in the regular season. 3 games up in a playoff spot entering the day. But again, feeling the pressure of teams like the Mets, who are in a tie right now with the Reds at 4-4. The Reds, by the way, trailed 4-2. They've come back to tie that game.
Jeez, come on, man.
I know. Well, that's a good thing that the Reds have come back to tie that game.
Oh, sorry. My
Yeah.
bad. That's right.
Braves are leading the Blue
Yay,
Jays
good job,
right now.
Reds.
Astros are leading the D-backs 1-0.
Oh, great.
That's good.
Must be nice.
In the I'm going to kill you. Our week is over. We will have a late night edition of a wrap-up show for you tonight on YouTube following Padres and Giants, much to the chagrin of my wife.
And my wife.
Right. But other than that, everyone likes it.
It's like one of those things where it's a Friday night. We're both going out, and we're like, oh, by the way, honey, let's do the wrap-up show.
Well, it's like
the eye rolls are just in the back of the head.
Well, listen, do they hate it? Yes. Do
Yes.
we sometimes not? Yes. But, I mean, it is. I mean, we work.
We're in the home stretch.
We're in the home stretch.
The home
Chris.
stretch. These are the most important games of the season.
They only play 162 times a year. They barely play all year long. It's only 162
right. They don't.
games
They don't
plus
play every day. It's
postseason
fine.
and spring training and all that.
Right. Exactly.
Is the music playing?
Are we done?
No.
We have to continue to stretch this
we
thing
have
out.
to stretch this thing out.
Oh, boy.
But the issue for me right now is the sun is directly in my face. The sun is
Brent, play the
actually
damn
in
music.
It's
I don't
directly
care.
in my face.
Play
for
the
last
damn
5
music.
minutes, and I've been praying for the show to end so I could get the sun to leave my face.
Here.
It hasn't been all day long until right now. Here we go. I'm moving this umbrella.
There we go.
It's directly in my face.
Like this. There we
It's
go.
been perfect until then.
Yeah.
The weather was perfect until then. So anyway, if you're making your way downtown, get to the Naughty Barrel this weekend because they've got you covered. You can watch the Padres from down here, even if you don't have tickets. Again, NFL Week 1 is here. Padres and Packers. So make your way to the Naughty Barrel, 9th and Market, downtown San Diego. Get here this weekend. All right, I'm going to wrap the show.
You're like, poke me in the face.
Oh, shoot. You're right. I am. All right, if you missed anything today, sportssd.com, iHeartRadio app, iTunes, TuneIn Radio, or Spotify. You can find us on social media at Jon and Jim. That is JONANDJIM. We will catch up with you tomorrow night from Snapdragon Stadium with pregame coverage beginning at 5:30. Kickoff between San Diego State and Oregon State at 7:30. For Brent, for our engineer Manny, for Jim, for my wife, Kristen, for Aaron, who's on her way. I'm John. Keep it here. This is San Diego Sports 760.
Peace out. Bye.
Ciao.